Hello, friends. You're now listening to the lifestyle, leisure, and sports show you never knew was two of those things.
I think we can all acknowledge that if this fails, you two will be fired and I will remain. So, no pressure.
Bo Bishop, a regional media icon, winner of Emmys, purveyor of the good life.
Sir, you don't know that for a fact.
I just said it on the radio.
Also, two guys this company named Employee of the Month.
What are you talking about?
Paul Hogan is Hulk Hogan's brother. Look it up.
Because it's Hulk Hogan. That's his real name.
One guy is from Australia. The other one is from Tampa.
He's from Hollywood, brother.
Not brothers. Chops.
Yes, they are.
This is Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends and the rotating chair keeps going this week. 3 days, 3 different co-hosts today. I am joined by Tim May of the Tim May podcast on Letterman Row. Just coming back. Flew in here probably from Indy this morning. I'm assuming you went out last night in Indianapolis, had a great time, and then just came right to the studio.
No, I flew in yet late yesterday afternoon after sitting, basically interviewing Dan Lanning or being parts of the interview with Dan Lanning and all those guys. Totally enjoyed it. And then of course, I get in a 35-minute traffic jam just inside Ohio over there near Arlington or something.
You're 20 minutes away from home, but you're in a 35-minute traffic jam.
I've made that run so many times, covering the Indy 500 and over the last 40 years and things like that. I've got it down, at 74 miles an hour where I will be each point, and it really drives me nuts when all of a sudden somebody throws a monkey wrench in it. But we finally got through it and got home, had a little dinner, went to bed, got up, got ready for Bishop and Friends. And, of course, Bishop and Friends without Bishop is, I don't know what you call it. Peanut butter sandwich?
Sometimes we call it the Oops All Friends edition.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, and you're one of the friends who normally is here on Fridays.
There it is.
Anyways, yes, exactly. So, yeah, you were out at Indy. So before we get to some of the comments and things you heard from people around there, the players, the coaches, after their main ones, especially the coaches where they're up there on stage, I did want to ask you just about the event in general, because it's normally at Lucas Oil, so it looks like this, but it does feel like the other conferences, especially the Big 12, and the SEC has always been the way they are and talks as strong as they do, but the Big 12 one stood out to me, especially because Brett Yormark, he's from like the entertainment world, and so it had like a TED Talk feel to it, and he was really trying to push how good the Big 12 could be. Now, the Big 10 is probably in a position where they don't have to push that, but it is an opportunity to it, and especially Tony Petitti didn't really seem to take that. He kind of did a more traditional commissioner speech.
Executive approach. This is the agenda. This is where we're going. The House settlement should be finalized today, actually, is what he talked about. And, that's really going to steer where things are going immediately. But, you had to be over there. I mean, it's seemed to have gotten more impersonal every year.
Really?
Yeah, and then this year, you've been to Lucas Oil. I mean, the initial dais is in the north end zone.
Okay.
Well, they had it way back up in there, and then there was like a area for a mosh pit. They could have run the 40-yard dashes for the combine.
Between the dais and the seats?
Between the front row of where the media was sitting and where he was. I mean, it was almost like he was going to say, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall, type thing.
And it's already in a giant stadium that's empty, so it feels empty at the beginning, but then you're that far from it. Wow, that's weird.
And the thing is, they put all this separation between us and them, between us and the guys on the dais, which made it very impersonal. That's why there weren't as many, I don't know, it just seemed like you were on Zoom, when you were sitting there. And then it seemed like they shoved the what they call the individual interview areas when they break it down with the coaches and players, where you can go out and talk to them for like 30, 45 minutes and ask questions, 50 of you asking, Ryan Day, trying to get questions in on Ryan Day. Meanwhile, there are players and other people sitting near you with nobody asking them anything.
They're just sitting there for. I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Yeah. So the coaches should always be separate, in my opinion. But it's not the way it works. Is they're there for whatever, but they jam all these interviews with like this, what I call us common guys in the media all into like one little segment, and it drives you nuts because
why not let the coaches go, give their opening remarks, do all that as solo acts, then the players go.
Well,
they
do that. They do that. The coaches do that solo act for 15 minutes, but then we get 45 minutes with them.
What I mean,
like yesterday,
then let the players go, then let the coaches go for that.
Exactly. But then like yesterday, Dan Lanning was the last guy, the last coach, and supposed to get him for 45 minutes. I think we got him for like 28 or 30, and which rankled a bunch of people because he is very interesting to talk to. And, of course, when you look at the preseason poll, which was done by Cleveland.com annually, because, of course, the league doesn't do it, they're picked number 2 in the league, and we all know the showdown coming on October the 12th and all this stuff. But I just think the way Lanning and Oregon have gone about things in this new age is remarkable, and there's a reason he and Oregon and Ohio State are 1 and 2. Number one, they got great players, but number two, they have embraced the NIL aspect of things and taken it to another level. And of course, there's Kirby Smart taking snipes at Dan Lanning in Oregon.
I like that Dan Lanning it's fine.
Now that it's legal for players to get things, the SEC's all upset about it.
Yeah, and more on Lanning in a bit as we're going to go over some of the official remarks from the coaches yesterday. But you being there, obviously, I agree with you. Dan Lanning stood out, and probably the most thankful person that Dan Lanning stood out yesterday is Deshaun Foster at UCLA. We were talking about this at the beginning of the show yesterday, but being there, does it just appear that nobody ever asked him, like, do you know what you have to do for media days, or what was up with that?
That's funny. It was Austin Word was headed out the door here a minute ago. That's what I was talking about, the fact that it reminded me a little bit of Brett Bielema's first appearance.
Yeah.
He was extremely uncomfortable. This is when he was named, the coach at Wisconsin a long time ago, and now he's an old pro at it. He's actually pretty entertaining when he gets up there now. But he looked like he was trying to sweat himself into oblivion. I mean, Brett Bielema did, and was very uncomfortable. Who's going to ask me what, And in fact, it turns out, the questions are, how do you say it? Banal, whatever,
Yes.
And with Deshaun Foster, you're right. It's like nobody prepped him on this is what happens. Get up there and BS for like 4 or 5 minutes.
Just talk about your team a little bit.
If
whatever
nobody asks you a question, don't take it personal, and exit stage left. Or stage left, and it was but guys grow into those things, and Deshaun I think has been really. I'm not sure about that. Not sure about that elevation, higher, whatever you want to call it. We'll see how it goes. But UCLA seems to be so behind in a lot of things. And you wish the best for Deshaun because he seems like a pretty decent dude, Yeah,
that's what I'm hoping is just like extreme football guy and just didn't realize that he needed that much of a prepared statement and it was all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But it's like, didn't you see any from the day before?
Right.
I don't know. Maybe he just got lost when he got up there.
Lincoln Riley's really smooth at those kind of things, in my opinion, for example. And when I think Ryan Day is very good at it. I mean, he just gets up there and talks a little bit and knows questions are coming, And so,
most coaches, it seems like, try to kind of split like a third of it or so for their opening statement and then take questions for the second 2/3.
The main thing, this about football coaches, paranoia will destroy you, but they don't believe that. I mean, they are all paranoid. No matter how gracious they are and stuff about people finding out things, about saying the wrong thing, right on down the line. And so when it's your first time, which it was clearly, he should have practiced in his hotel room, but it is what it is now, man. It's on the record.
Moving on. And
it's on video clips everywhere.
And I have no idea if it means that he's a good or a bad coach.
It has nothing to do with it.
We'll see that once he's actually on the field. That's what will prove that.
I just remember Lou Tepper getting up at his first thing when he was the named the Illinois coach, and following, I think, John Malkovich. And he said he got up to the podium, and the first thing out of his mouth was something in effect of, the most important play in football is the punt. I turned to the guy sitting to the next to me, and I said, this guy isn't going to last long.
As somebody who's watched Iowa football growing up his entire life, I understand.
I know. I wanted to tell you, I mean, it's funny because that's almost exactly what Jim Trussell said when he got named the coach. And then he showed me a chapter from John Wilkes' book, took me into his office one day, pulled out John Wilkes' book and had a whole chapter, the most important play in football is a punt. And I said, okay. I said, but I always have aspired to the fact that the most important play in football is any touchdown because it changes the game for both sides, you know, and a punt, you know, that's like rugby or something.
So I guess eventually Jim Tressel evolved the most important play is the punt into at least any possession is good as long as it ends in a kick, something like that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but you know, and as you know, the contrast of that is Urban Meyer never ever wanted to punt. You know, I mean, he wanted to end every drive with an extra point. You know, so that's the contrast.
Remember early on in his Ohio State tenure too, that he would just randomly go for 2 at the beginning of games.
I think his first touchdown, their first touchdown in Ohio Stadium, who was that against? Bowling Green, whatever. I think it was some MAC.
That sounds right.
They went for 2, and you're kind of going, okay, new sheriff in town. He's just trying to set the tone, just like the first play of the spring game this year offensively. Chip Kelly sends an offense in there, and boom, they shift into robust T. Yeah, you know, shades of Archie and Pete Johnson and Corny Green and stuff. So you never know what's going through coaches' minds. I guess getting back to the Deshaun Foster affair.
So one thing I wanted to go over with you, because it's impossible to take in all the it's pretty easy to keep an eye on the coaches, their initial ones, but then there's 3 players per team, and it's 18 teams now, so it's a lot of players.
I'm not going to sit here and fake like I talk to every player.
No, I understand that, but what players did stand out to you? I think Dylan Gabriel was a very popular one yesterday.
That's funny you brought him up, because he's the only, except for the Ohio State guys, he's the only one I spent more than like 5 or 6 minutes with the whole time, because, I mean, his history is interesting. UCF to Oklahoma.
Well, yeah, he's a pro. He's from Hawaii. Like his 7th year.
Yeah, he's from Hawaii to UCF to Oklahoma to now Oregon. Considered one of the elite quarterbacks in the country this year. I think you agree with that. How much of a pro he'll be, that remains to be seen. But extremely poised, extremely well spoken. You know, cuts his eyes at, people and makes interesting comments as opposed to, That
reminds me of JT Barrett. He always had such great expressions when answering.
Yeah. CJ did too. CJ Stroud did too. But exactly. JT Barrett. JT Barrett just seemed like he was a grown-up since he was probably
That's what I meant by Dylan Gabriel being a pro. Like, he's not a wide-eyed, bushy-tailed college freshman anymore. Nowhere near that.
And he's also rich. He's richer than me and you. That's the other thing that's interesting. But he has no problem giving basically his his view on things, just like, Ohio State had interest in him when he declared he was leaving Oklahoma, but they didn't act, basically, they weren't ready to act fast enough. And Oregon was. Dan Lanning, man, a couple of interviews, and boom, they had their guy, and then they get the kid from UCLA, what's his name, Dante Moore?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Former
5-star.
So it's funny, in the transfer portal, they got a starting quarterback and a backup quarterback, a guy in training. So
did Ohio State possibly too. So it's a similar situation, and that's why both those teams are voted to be the top of the league right now.
Saying, man, don't. I'm just saying.
Was there any player you wish was there that you didn't get to talk to?
I don't know, man. That would be a long list. Not really. I mean, one of my favorite was just talking to Luke Lachey, and then I did an interview with Luke and Jim Lachey together afterwards and stuff. And the interesting anecdote with him when he first met Caitlin Clark, I won't go into the graphic details, but she was ended up in his dorm room or something with a friend of hers and stuff. And Luke kind of came in from the showers, I guess, just with a towel on, but they became pretty good friends. Not super close friends, but that was an interesting. You think about a kid leaves Grandview. As I said, you used to run right by my son's house on First Avenue, staying in shape. Yeah. And I said, my son would always say, "Hey, I wonder where he's headed." When he was headed to Iowa.
I would have liked to hear from Drew Aller, but that's the thing. There was just a lack of quarterbacks overall.
Yeah, that's a good point. And Ohio State wasn't going to bring a quarterback because they haven't named a starting quarterback yet.
Yes, I understood why OSU didn't.
An extra interesting about Dan Lanning, there's Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah.
He's their quarterback, no questions asked.
I guess it's a little easier when it's for sure the starter. It feels like it's going to be Will Howard, but it's obviously still not official for the Buckeyes yet. Coming up, we'll wrap up our week of paying attention to coaches talking in a mostly empty stadium. Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
lot of hosts have been on our airways in the past 30 years. Some good, some bad, some really bad. Anyway, sorry for that. The Fan.
Hi, it's me, Little Bob from Bob's Discount Furniture. I know, you don't know me yet, but I'm here to let you know that I'm opening up 2 brand new showrooms in the Columbus area, located in Reynoldsburg and Polaris, bringing even more of my everyday low prices to the people of Ohio. And if you can't wait, mybobs.com is the quickest and easiest way to get unbeatable furniture prices delivered straight to your home today. That's my 2 brand new Bob's Discount Furniture stores coming to Reynoldsburg and Polaris this summer.
Get Bob's Discount!
Hey there, friends. It's Bo Bishop here for my friends at RCD RV. Remember your favorite summer vacation as a kid? Well, I sure do, and I can tell you those memories will last forever. And there is still time to create those memories with your family when you visit the fine people at RCD RV. You can literally go anywhere in an RV. The mountains, the lake, road trip of a lifetime. RCD has over 600 new and pre-owned RVs in stock, something for every budget. Visit them at one of their 3 Central Ohio locations or online anytime at rcdrv.com.
When it comes to protecting your business, whether it's your staff, property, or assets, don't make a crucial mistake by contracting companies that provide subpar and unprofessional service. What you need is a security partner known for their unwavering professionalism and unmatched reliability. You need Event Risk. Event Risk is a U.S.-based, veteran-owned company that not only specializes in on-site guarding, but also offers armed security associates and executive protection agents. Event Risk, elite protection for your peace of mind.
Hello, my name is Eric Rose, CEO and founder of Event Risk Security Services. We are a U.S.-based, veteran-owned company providing protection services and consulting to Fortune 500 corporations, movie studios, celebrities, and high-net-worth individuals. If you're tired of fluff margins with low compensation for poor-quality security officers and an endless revolving door of vendor staffing, then give us a try. For virtually the same cost, we can then address what keeps you up at night.
Visit eventriskinc.com.
The Logan Heating and Cooling Fan Golf Classic at Columbus Country Club is coming. Help fight cancer at the Ohio State Comprehensive Cancer Hospital.
Visit 971thefan.com to bid on auction items, including tickets and sports experiences.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
This season on Nada Yada Island. When we were new, they spoiled me. They even gave me a phone. But then, it's like I didn't exist.
Don't take yada yada from your wireless carrier. Now with Metro, get that new customer feeling again and again. Introducing Metro Flex. Free 5G phones when you join, same deals as new customers when you stay. Only at Metro by T-Mobile. Just bring your number and ID and sign up for an eligible plan. After 12 months, trade in and get our best deals on select devices.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We believe that every sport should be epic. Every home run, every hit, every inning, every play. From the moments that are legendary to the ones that fly under the radar.
See for yourself when you sign up today and get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only, must be present in Ohio. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply.
Friday, July 26th is Recovery Ohio's Mental Health Day at the Ohio State Fair. Visit the Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services, the Department of Insurance, and other state agency booths. Come learn about mental health resources available to you and to your family. Join us on Friday, July 26th for Recovery Ohio's Mental Health Day at the Ohio State Fair. We'll see you there.
This radio commercial was made to convince you to stop speeding. We can't use siren sound effects on the radio, so we'll use other equally jarring sound effects to get your attention. Like telling you that whether you drive a little over the speed limit or a lot, you can crash just the same. You could hurt yourself or worse, others.
I'm at the scene of the collision.
And the damage you cause will be beyond repair. See, we didn't have to use crash or siren sounds after all. Speeding catches up with you. Brought to you by NHTSA.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Today we're looking at sunny skies with a high of 84. Saturday, sunny skies with a high of 88. Sunday will be sunny with a high of 91. Looks like we'll have some clouds increasing by Sunday afternoon, and then showers and thunderstorms return by Monday. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with a look at your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Our top men are working on everything. except this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
Chaps and Tim May with you today. Big Ten Media Days wrapped up in Indy yesterday after 3 exciting days talking to all 18. Yes, you heard that right. 18 teams in the Big Ten, all 18 coaches. Yesterday, we had a list that included Oregon head coach Dan Lanning, who obviously we've never heard in a Big Ten capacity, Michigan coach Sharon Moore, who we've never seen except for that post-game television interview at Penn State. We haven't really heard from him very much as the Michigan head man. And another one that stood out yesterday, and a new coach, Curt Cignetti. If you don't know, he is the Indiana head coach, comes from James Madison. But I wanted to start with the comments from Dan Lanning, who we were talking about in the previous segment anyways. And he was asked about, well, what should the Big Ten and its constituency know about the Ducks as they enter? Here's what he had to say.
Ultimately, what should the Big Ten know about Oregon? That we're mighty different. Mighty different in a lot of ways. You look out there in the pond, you'll see a big old duck. I'm hoping we get to travel that duck to all of our away games this year. Right? We're mighty different when it comes to the jerseys you might see us wear or the facilities that we get to be in, and we're innovative. And we've always been on the cutting edge of everything we do. We're certainly positioning ourselves to be in the cutting edge, and we're grateful for the opportunity to compete in the Big Ten. Excited about this opportunity in front of us, and excited to see what this team does. It's a brand new team. It's not the same new team as last year. You know, on our team right now, there's 10 players that were on this team when I first got here, so you're talking about a new group. And these guys have completely bought in. Excited to see them perform. I know they're anxious to get on the field, but there's a lot of work between now and then before we do that.
If Dillon Gabriel can play to the level that we've seen him for most of his college career and what we're expecting him to improve even just a little bit more, I think, at Oregon, then yes, this is going to be one of those great teams. But he talks about being a different team, and it's like, well, yeah, but an NFL quarterback on your roster in Bo Nix last year. Is it enough to replace that? Because quarterback, it's the most important position, and it remains to be the most important position.
Well, here's the thing. If you were just in a vacuum and you were told you have a choice between Bo Nix and Dillon Gabriel based on the way they played previously, you know, Auburn for Bo Nix and Oklahoma for Dillon Gabriel, you take Dillon Gabriel every day of the week. I mean,
I think that's fair.
From a consistency and big play standpoint. And then Bo Nix just blossomed. You know,
those last 2 years at Oregon, it was like, oh man, night and day. He basically just took all of his bad and got rid of it.
Really, the last year more than any other, you know, and became a draft pick. And because, you know, you wouldn't have taken him 4 years ago. I mean, he's just so inconsistent. Didn't seem like he really. Well, it didn't seem like a guy who really wanted to be a quarterback.
Threw
it was
it up
really
for grabs all the time.
But yeah, Dillon Gabriel, you know, you talk about the flash and dash and the duck on the pond and everything else, but you know, it comes down to the Jimmies and the Joes, and Oregon has put together quite a collection.
Yes, for sure. And they were, as you mentioned earlier, too, we had Kirby Smart talking about, Dan Lanning, of his former defensive coordinator. They're out there. They've got a huge NIL chest. Yeah. And Dan Lanning was basically having none of it. And I love this comment from him. This goes along with, like, he's interesting to listen to because he didn't just say, hey, we're fine with it. We have our NIL and it's working for us. But he ended his statement with, quote, everyone else right now is focused on our ice cream cone. And if I'm busy looking at theirs, that means mine's melting. And it reminds me of if you have a milkshake and I have a milkshake. And that's where Dan Lanning comes from. So I'm excited to have a head coach of a good team that's exciting to hear from. And I do hope they bring the big duck everywhere they go. I think that would be a lot of fun, and find a lot of Big Ten schools have a waterway near them. There's no, you can usually get it done, I think.
You got the old Tenji River sitting out there, you know, if they ever show up here. But you're exactly right. I mean, and here's the thing about it's not just splash, flash, and dash, you know, for dash for Oregon. They beat Ohio State in Ohio Stadium a few years ago. C.J. Stroud, remember? And 2021, and they did it physically. I mean, they ran the ball.
Same play to the left three times.
And this is the thing. I wrote about this because I wrote about a little bit about Dan Lanning in Washington, Oregon and Washington for LettermanRow.com, is especially Oregon is building its team. See, there's this fine line between building a team to win the Pac-12 or the Big Ten and building a team to compete for a national championship. Ohio State has built a team to compete for a national championship. Oregon has done the same thing.
Yes.
And so the conference title is one thing, but getting ready for getting your program prepared for for the big time now, which is a 12-team playoff, just like the SEC. You're building teams more in that upper echelon. You think of Alabama, Georgia type teams. That's the kind of team Oregon has built. That's the kind of roster that Ryan Day and company have built. They have compete on that level.
Yeah, they have checked the boxes that the teams that have won in the 14 playoff era have almost always checked, and that's how you build a national champion, a real national champion contender.
With Oregon, it was always, boy, it looks like a really nice little group of skill guys, but those linemen sure don't look like it.
That's what happened in the national championship against the Buckeyes.
Now it's not the same.
Sharon Moore taking over at Michigan. Here are his comments about heading into year one, his first as a head coach.
Leaning on those mentors that I've had in the past, those people like Coach Harbaugh, talking to him, understanding how he built this program, and for me now it's putting my own flavor on it, but not changing too much because obviously there's a lot of things that worked. But anything we can do to get better every single day, we're going to try to do.
I think that approach makes sense for him. It's very similar to how Ryan Day approached his first few years. A lot of Urban guys stayed around, and he got to keep even more because Urban didn't immediately go to another job and take some guys. So that's the thing is, yes, it's nice to keep some of it rolling from the Harbaugh era, but you didn't get to keep as much infrastructure as some of the other coaches that have been in situations like this. So he's going to have to, I think this year that's a smart move, but he's going to have to turn it into his program, the Moore program, faster than Ryan Day did, which it feels like this season is the first one where it's like, this is 100% Ryan Day's program. I think by about year 2, you're going to see it as this is 100% Moore's Michigan program.
Yeah, I thought last year was, it got there pretty quickly with it being Ryan Day's program, in my opinion. But, one of the first things Ryan Day did was, Greg Schiano was out and Jeff Hafley was hired as the defensive coordinator.
Great hire.
That was a great hire. Too bad it only lasted.
Too good of a hire.
Exactly. Martin Jarman, had been at Ohio State and he was at Boston College and he hired Jeff Hafley away. And you saw how long it took them to get to Jim Knowles. Too long, as the old saying goes. But that's what you learn as a head coach is not just what players to go after, but what assistants to surround yourself with. And I've got a little interview coming up with Ryan Day later, probably going to be on the Tim May show, my podcast, but how this is a really nice coaching staff when starting with Jim Knowles, but also Chip Kelly. His former, quote, uncle, end quote, the way I look at it. But just what Chip Kelly brings from an offensive. Now Ryan Day can be a true head coach. But Sharon Moore, you always grow into being a head coach if you've never been one before. There will be stumbles along the way, mistakes you'll look back on, and things like that. I kind of liked his way, but I was talking to some people who cover Michigan, and they think he is maybe too entrenched into the Jim Harbaugh way of doing things or thoughts and stuff, and they are curious to see how this goes. They don't call it an experiment necessarily because there is no debating what Sharon Moore did on the sidelines, 5 or 6 games last year when he was actually the ipso facto head coach. I'm trying to remember if they kind of shuffled it those first 3 games. But
because he was suspended at least the first game along with Harbaugh, but he had nothing with the later suspension for the Stallions.
Yeah, and of course he didn't. I don't think he really liked me asking about how do you expect that investigation to be cleared up sooner rather than later, meaning in the Connor Stallions thing. But that is what it is because that's still looming, man, over their heads out there. But I think Sharon Moore, he's solid. I mean, he's a solid dude, Yeah. He hired Tony Alford away from Ohio State, and that kind of sent shockwaves through a lot of things, kind of surprised some people. But I'm not sure Ohio State in the final analysis didn't come out ahead in that deal.
Yeah, it'd just be interesting, too, if...
I like Carlos Locklear, I guess is my point.
Watching Sharon Moore go from Harbaugh assistant to Sharon Moore the head coach. Yeah. And we'll see if he gets fully there this season or if it takes a number of years. But, yeah, he's thrown right into the fire, and they're the defending national champions. We've got some more coach comments, and we'll try to sparse those in throughout the show, disperse them to the listeners there. But coming up next, although you may have already seen Olympic competition this week, they actually don't start until tonight. Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
When that alarm clock goes off, Morning Juice comes on. The perfect way to dominate your day or just lay around the house. Morning Juice.
Weekdays at 6.
The Fan.
As a local family-owned and operated company, Newman Roofing takes great pride in providing great customer experience and quality product to every job they do. From the first phone call to the end of your project, they'll know who you are. Don't just get a roof, get a Newman roof. Call 614-NEW-ROOF, newmanroofing.com.
Find great prices on summer favorites this week at Meijer. Get fresh local blueberries for $1.49 and Meijer chips 3 for $5. Plus, the 7 for $7 sale is back. Mix or match hundreds of items and pay just $1 each when you pick any 7 or more. Eckert hot dogs, Meijer ketchup, and select Coca-Cola products, plus deposit where applicable. To round out your summer cookout, shop low Meijer prices and the 7 for $7 sale this week only. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in store or in the Meijer app.
Common Man and T-Bone here. Visit Hollywood Casino Columbus this summer for exciting live sports action. We got the biggest screens around, and ESPN Bet is live in Ohio.
Plus, Penn Play Rewards members can win up to $500 Penn Cash every week. Visit PennPlaySports.com/cover5 today and register for your chance to play and win.
Not a member? Get the Penn Play app today.
Hollywood Casino Columbus is your live sports headquarters.
Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Driving this summer in a new Honda. Act now during Honda's summer event to save thousands with low 1.9% financing. Full inventory is here. Cars, SUVs, trucks, vans, and hybrids. With hybrids, the battery charges as you drive. Don't miss Honda's summer event with big savings on gas or hybrid, like the 2024 Honda Ridgeline, now with low 1.9% financing. Search your local Honda dealer. See dealer for financing details. For well-qualified buyers. Offer ends 9/3/24.
We go to war for you.
At Schroeder Trial Attorneys, we don't back down.
Truck accident?
Call us today at 877-WAR-FOR-YOU or visit warforyou.com for a free consultation. Remember, results matter because we go to war for you. warforyou.com.
Attention weekend warriors. Fan Sports Saturday has moved to 10 a.m. Join Eric Reeser and Tyvis Powell as they dive into popular topics like the Buckeyes and Tyvis's liquid diet.
Saturdays from 10 to 1.
The Fan.
Murphy Tractor and Equipment is your source for John Deere construction equipment rental. We rent high-quality equipment and attachments with add-on options in TopCon precision construction technology. Whether you need 1 week or 6 months, we rent a variety of equipment to help you get the job done. All our rental equipment is fully serviced, fueled, and ready to get to work. Let Murphy Tractor be your first choice for your construction equipment rental needs. Visit us online at murphytractor.com.
Great coaching can make all the difference, especially when it comes to your money. At Right Pac Credit Union, our financial coaches are on your team. We'll help you create a winning game plan that's customized for your unique needs, so you can make the most of your hard-earned money and live the life you want to live. Best of all, Right Pac Credit Union serves all of Central Ohio, so getting in the game is easy. Let's win together. Stop by one of our Central Ohio member centers to get started today. Equal housing opportunity, insured by NCUA.
Need assistance with door and window projects? The Home Depot can help. From inspiration and materials to ordering and installation, our free Millwork virtual apron service can get you moving and doing. Plus, we speak Spanish too. Our associates can help you tackle complex jobs without you leaving the job site, saving you time and money. Call us at 1-833-HD-APRON or visit homedepot.com/MVA. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Something amazing is happening when power outages strike. Teams are powering through them. That's because CDW Solutions architects are building more resilient IT and electrical infrastructures with Schneider Electric. With EcoCare remote monitoring services and 24/7 support, your organization can do more than keep the lights on. Schneider Electric and CDW make amazing happen. Learn more at cdw.com/Schneider Electric.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 2 restaurant locations in Grandview and Gahanna. Drink local, drink High Bank.
The Paris Olympics start tonight in Paris. There's competitions, though, all over France. We looked that up last week. That most of the basketball competition, not in Paris. But those guys will be there tonight, especially LeBron James, who is one of the flag bearers for the United States. They went star power on this one, and not like Olympic star power, just like these are people that we know in the sports world. Obviously, LeBron is one of the most famous athletes ever. He's going to be the male flag bearer. And then Coco Gauff, the tennis star who just won the U.S. Open, is going to be the female flag bearer for Team USA. What I didn't know until I was looking into it today, I knew that the Seine was going to be this huge centerpiece, the river that runs through Paris. I did not realize that the opening ceremony was like, we're just not even going to do a stadium and have everybody come in on that. No, it's going to be in boats down the Seine. So I'm actually really interested to see this. I'll probably watch the night one, although I would be available at 1:30. Our show ends at noon, so maybe I will watch it live. It's at 7:30 p.m. Paris time, which is 1:30 our time, but there will be a re-airing on NBC at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time for those of you that have real jobs and have to miss.
Kind of like a Miracle on Ice way back when.
Yes, but the ceremony will begin at the Austerlitz Bridge, travel just under 4 miles down the Seine River, landing at the Trocadero near the Eiffel Tower. The Trocadero is that like big open courtyard with all the tiles and everything. So I think this is going to look beautiful tonight.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how it does look, because it's definitely going to be different, and why not break away from just everybody traipsing into a big stadium? I mean,
which we've seen a billion times now.
Yeah, and Paris is a city of lights, so there should be plenty of light. But yeah, I'm always curious when people break away from quote tradition and move on to something else, and this should be pretty spectacular. I was wondering what the over and under is, or whatever you want to call it. The odds are of whether LeBron carries a flag with one hand or two. The big stout guys carry it with one hand.
I would imagine he's strong enough to carry it with one hand.
Whereas Coco Gauff, probably two.
Have you ever seen that? Like after like a big football win, and like a lineman will go over and take the giant flags that the cheerleaders wave around, and I
remember Baker Mayfield had two hands on the flag though when he. When he played the Oklahoma flag in the Block O.
I was not referencing that one.
I knew you weren't, but
try to block that out of my head. My wife, J-Lo, she still does not. There is no saving Baker Mayfield for her. No matter what he does, she's like, no, I will never forgive him for what he did at the 50-yard line.
I know, but it's amazing what becomes sacred ground, what becomes hallowed ground, and what isn't, But that is interesting. But I know this, my wife's a huge Olympics fan because she was a high jumper at Ohio State a long time ago. Matter of fact, she was Big Ten champion and stuff, and had the Ohio State record for a while. But she loves all the track and field stuff, and just the athletes, because they are special. And it only comes around every 4 years, which is pretty interesting. But to watch them parade in one form or fashion on a boat, it'd be funny if it was landing craft with an homage to D-Day, right?
They had they brought out like aircraft carriers going down the Seine, and you landed onto it. Yeah. Okay, there you go.
That would be very curious. I don't know how the Germans would take it.
So it'll be 94 boats that'll carry 10,500 athletes in the procession. Again, that is at 1:30 live here for Eastern time, but you can catch it again 7:30. The Seine is a really interesting, as I mentioned, a centerpiece. So there we go. There's a pun for you.
I like it.
But have you seen like the lead up to it? Because they wanted to clean it out. Apparently, I knew you weren't able to swim in it right now, but it's been outlawed for 100 years, since 1923.
I hope so.
Due to all the pollution, and they said, they've cleaned it. And then there was
wait, all the pollution. I like where you put that.
Well, that's what I don't know. That's what they called it. Jeschi dans la Seine was a hashtag going around, which in French loosely translate to "I'm pooping in the Seine."
There you go. That's what I was talking about.
Yes, the protesters were planning to defecate in the Seine because some politicians, the mayor of Paris and some other, they were going to swim in it to prove that it's clean, and that was going to be their form of protest. They didn't actually really end up doing it, or at least not many people, and they did actually end up swimming in it. But what events are going to be there? So I looked that up as well. It's basically just the marathon swimming, because I was thinking about it. I was like, I never was like, oh no, that has to be an Olympic swimming pool for like the actual swimming events, because a river has a current, which I would be really interested to see like Katie Ledecky swim against a current and see how far she could get. But no, it's going to be.
Yeah, that's not one of the competitions.
No, it's not going to be one of those.
Current would be different from day to day. It'd be hard. What's funny is They had a brand new field at Lucas Oil Stadium.
Oh yeah,
and the little rubber grommets, whatever they put in, I call it, hadn't settled in yet. You could do your foot across it was like an instant replay where the grommets would all flip up. I'm talking about the last 3 days.
How many did you get in your shoes?
Well, the reason I did get them in my shoes, it was hilarious. Every night you dump them out, but they put it in because they had the three swimming pools in that stadium for the U.S. Olympic trials.
That, yeah.
And some of the workers there were telling me about it, and it was crazy. They kind of I think they planned around this. They knew this would happen, but putting the pools in there with the superstructure under them and stuff, because they were elevated like 8-10 feet, kind of ruined the field, the actual field. But they knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then they put in this new turf, and it was kind of interesting way to use Lucas Oil. I mean, it was like we got in discussion about Olympic pools. They're waveless, and because and all this kind of stuff, and they had that all worked out too. But it was pretty strange.
Was it 2019 where we had to have a hero of the Big Ten championship game? Remember that guy came out?
Draymond Jones almost got sucked in
yes.
by the field. Was almost eaten by Lucas Oil Stadium field, and the hero came out and. It took 10 minutes to fix it, 15 minutes.
I remember he just had the giant bucket of those pellets and just kept putting them in. I was like, I don't think it's like dirt, but he's kind of treating it like it's dirt.
That was crazy.
Yes. As far as the Olympics go, the U.S., as most times we get to any summer or even winter Olympics, but especially the summer, they are the extreme favorite to both have the most gold medals and the most total medals. So they are minus 550 for most gold medals, these odds via Sportline. China's next at plus 350, so maybe some competition there. Then it just falls off. Great Britain at plus 4,200. Most total medals, they do not see a shot in hell that the United States doesn't come home with that number. Anything can happen, but they are minus 2,000 favorites. Not really much value if you want to bet on that. China plus 1,300, and then you have Great Britain and Japan tied at plus 600. So by all accounts, when they put up those medal counts on NBC when you're watching the coverage, Mike Tirico is going to be saying a lot of America in the lead.
Yeah, if you could use a golf analogy, it's like the United States comes into any Olympics with a full bag of clubs.
Yes.
And some of these others don't have the full bag of clubs.
Well, because they compete in every event.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Whereas, and that doesn't mean you have the better team. Just like on the previous show, I heard AJ Hawk and them and Beamer and Austin Ward talking about rugby. Why wouldn't the United States dominate rugby? When you think of football player, when you think of Eddie George on a rugby field way back in his prime.
Yeah.
How do you tackle that dude, and write him down the line? But
the answer's right there. And he was playing football.
It gets spread out. The American talent gets spread out to a certain extent, but they should lead medals every time because there's, because of the diverse opportunities you get in the United States of America. So it's really tough. So, but China, as you know, if you watch their speed skater that knocks everybody down, back in the Olympics, the Winter Olympics and stuff, it's like, other people have to rob Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah.
And of course, since the Soviet bloc got busted up, and East Germany coming in with these
so that's
specimens
changed.
Is the best way of putting it, in the female side and stuff. It's been an interesting time.
That's changed the makeup of the Eastern European competitors in the Olympics for sure.
Yes.
The one other thing, you were talking about the gymnastics. I like watching the gymnastics. My wife really likes that. It's figure skating and gymnastics are like her two favorite on each of them. I think she likes the almost dancing portion of it.
I ripped that one time in a column, got all kinds of grief. This was a long time ago, like late 70s or something, because it's really, to me, it's no different than ballet in a lot of respects. Mm-hmm. But you don't give winners and losers in ballet. I mean,
no, they're not competing against each other.
They put on shows, and the point is, figure skating is ridiculous. The things they do
and the athleticism.
But judging that this one was a little bit better than that one is really, nuance.
Yeah, judging ones
and it's so open to scandal, for want of another term.
And that's why it's crazy. Like the one you can see though when she's at the top of her game is Simone Biles.
Oh yeah,
you're like, oh, she's different than a lot of
well, she ought to get to go. It's kind of like preseason All-Americans. She ought to be. She's the pre-Olympic All-American. Now does she follow through on the in the exercises?
But then I also like swimming and a lot of the track events because I said this yesterday. Really easy to understand. Not a sport that I have to learn. I just go, if they cross the finish line first, they win.
When I, back at the Columbus Dispatch, when I would cover auto racing, a couple of times I wasn't available for a race, and they would send somebody else out there, and they'd be all freaking out about covering auto because they don't cover auto racing. I go, it's pretty damn simple. I said, if you don't get caught up in the in all the rigmarole, the first guy to finish or first driver to finish across the finish line first wins usually. That's all there is to it.
Up next, we may have had the Olympics' biggest scandal before even the opening ceremonies. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We're known for three things: games, conversation, and common man yelling about things only he cares about. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island. This season on Nada Yada Island.
When we were new, they spoiled me. They even gave me a phone. But then, it's like I didn't exist.
Don't take yada yada from your wireless carrier. Now with Metro, get that new customer feeling again and again. Introducing Metro Flex. Free 5G phones when you join, same deals as new customers when you stay. Only at Metro by T-Mobile. Just bring your number and ID and sign up for an eligible plan. After 12 months, trade in and get our best deals on select devices.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Let's talk about your sleep, specifically if you're not getting enough of it. If you're feeling groggy all day because you didn't sleep well, that is an awful feeling. I've been there. And if you're snoring when you sleep, well, that could be a big reason why you aren't feeling rested. This fact surprised even me the first time I heard it, and that is as you age, your risk of having obstructive sleep apnea nearly doubles. That's right. You need to find out if your snoring is related to sleep apnea, because if it is, there's actually help available for you right now. Dr. Mark Levy is board certified in the treatment of sleep apnea, and he offers a custom-fitted oral appliance that effectively treats sleep apnea. I have been telling you about this for years. And maybe you've been snoring for years. Now's the time to get this fixed. Plus, most Medicare patients have little to no out-of-pocket costs for this treatment. So you need to stop putting it off. Don't ignore your snore. Get your sleep apnea treated by calling Dr. Mark Levy today at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. Get the life back you deserve. Call Dr. Mark Levy today, 1-800-MORE-SLEEP, or visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com.
Integrity, honesty, and quality. Words we live by here at Monogram Homes. Hi, this is Dina. And at Monogram Homes, we strive to bring your wants to your man cave, your needs to your kitchen, and your ideas to life. Most home builders claim to be custom, but starting with stock floor plans and templates isn't our idea of a tailored experience. At Monogram Homes, we start with a blank slate and work with you until you get exactly what you want. So start your true custom home journey today with a builder you can trust. Monogram Homes. Visit us online at monogramhomes.net.
Sunday's the time for brunching with your favorite people. And when they don't invite you, listen to us instead. Fan Sports Sunday with Tito and Davir Posey.
Sunday morning starting at 11.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Cash, moolah, greenback toast, Grilla, chips, bread and mold, cheddar, butter, lewd and scratch. Find the letters, make a match. Lettuce, gravy, game on the back for $30. That's a wrap. There's many words for cash, no doubt, but there's only one $30 cash word. Check it out. Cash word from Ohio, lottery. It's $30, yo. Cash word, it's fun to go with millions of prizes, don't you know? Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and emission regulations. Play responsibly.
It's a summer savings extravaganza at Kemba Financial Credit Union. You pick how you want your money to grow. Choose a limited time 13-month certificate at up to 5.25% annual percentage yield to lock in your savings with a $500 minimum deposit, or enjoy access to your funds anytime with a money market at 4.75% APY intro rate until October 31st with a $5,000 minimum balance and a $1 million maximum. Visit Kemba.org for details. Restrictions apply. Advantage status required. Federally insured by NCUA.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free. With zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit, hims.com/joy.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Ohio Heating and Bryant. Doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
We'll read your emails on the air, but we won't tell you where to send them. Hey, we're not doing all the work for you. This is Bishop and Friends.
Chaps and Tim May with you today. Olympics opening ceremonies out in Paris tonight. But we already had some scandalous things go on. So this story has been developing throughout the week. At first, it was just going to be an analyst and an assistant coach for the Canadian women's national soccer team. But then it got to the point where Bev Priestman, their head coach, was going to sit out the first game or the next game of their competition, wherever they're at there. And now it has been updated to Bev Priestman has been removed from the country's Olympic soccer team over a scandal involving the use of drones to spy on opponents' practice, the Canadian Olympic Committee announced Thursday. The announcement followed a report from TSN that Canada's women's and men's soccer teams have used drones to record opponents' closed-door training sessions for several years, including during the women's gold medal winning Tokyo Olympic tournament in 2021. So yeah, they won the last women's soccer gold medal just a few years ago, and now it's coming to light that, were they cheating? Yes, it looks like they were. How much advantage did they get? Why did they do this? I don't know, but the craziest thing to me is how brazen it is, the idea that you could just fly a drone over a practice and nobody would notice.
Indoor, I think, on a couple of these. I'm just going, you don't hear that. Yes, it's off the chart crazy, but to be expected in the modern era, you use whatever technique you need to cheat, right? I mean,
advantage
to gain an advantage. I mean, dude, you're talking to the wrong guy when he's talking about an appreciation for soccer. I don't really have that like some people do, like my older son, all my kids do.
The two guys sitting in this room right before us in Austin.
I've always, soccer to me is just a slow motion hockey, which I do like hockey, but a lot of stuff, it just happens out of circumstance, or chaos, but the way I look at it. But I guess set pieces do matter, right? I mean, I don't know what you're picking up on. I would think just watching video of a team tells you which players are the faster.
What is their general offensive philosophy, those kind of things. Yeah.
Exactly. They come from the inside out, the outside in, flip-flop, all that kind of stuff. But, but that's just taking it. That's just, like I said, paranoia. You always wonder what the other team is doing. You always figure they're cheating, they're spying on you, so why wouldn't you spy on them? Is sort of the approach in big-time athletics. You know that.
It's one of those ones where, like you were saying, you kind of sit there, and after you read about the story, you're like, why would they even take such a great risk on this? Like, how much are they really gaining from it? They just won the gold medal, so maybe that's why they continued to do it. Like, hey, this worked out for us before. Yeah. Let's not, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But it's cheating, and now you got caught.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's like a Connor Stallions thing last year with Michigan when it was finally found out. It became a sophisticated operation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, based on the evidence that's been thrown out there. And this is too. That's complicated. I mean, you have really thought this through. You're going to get a drone inside of an indoor facility and have no one detect it. Remember, like the NFL, supposedly the Patriots were videoing practices. And that's more important in football than it is in soccer, much more important. But the reason they were doing it, probably, if in fact they were doing it, I think they were found to be doing it, is because they think the other team is doing it too.
Yeah, and I was looking up on Spygate because I was like, well, what exactly happened there? And it was caught. Yeah, I remember there definitely being the idea that they were filming at practice. They were caught in a game doing it, filming the other coaches on the other sideline, which is very similar to the Stallions one. And then I had forgotten this one. They destroyed the videotapes so that the evidence wasn't able to be completely poured over by the NFL. And it's like, well, that seems pretty suspicious.
10-minute gap, as they called it in the Nixon era, or 20-minute gap. Yeah. I mean, the main thing is, that's what's amazing is, keeping record or whatever of of your wrongdoings, because you have to have it filed, or it's just a bunch of stuff's just sitting there, like with Spygate. I mean, with the Connor Stallions thing, supposedly there was evidence in some form or fashion of it being done, So why would you, if you're going to go to the lengths of doing it, why would you keep record of it?
The other thing that
I guess to get paid back.
It doesn't. Michigan wanted to install this
expenses.
Michigan wanted to install this air of plausible deniability for Harbaugh, but there's just not very much in me that believes, and this is just an opinion. There's no way to really prove it because they haven't found the evidence, but there's no way Harbaugh didn't know. And it's interesting that the Canadian Olympic Committee, I don't know what they found as far as evidence goes, because this is still kind of an ongoing investigation, but they at least felt comfortable enough to be like, nah, the head coach should be in charge of this, and they sent her home.
Well, yeah, but the way you trace it down is, because there's got to be a tech person. There's got to be somebody who knows how to run drones and stuff doing this stuff, number one. Just like Connor Stallions, he was trained in the military how to do stuff.
Well, and he had a team under him to go to games.
He developed his own task force, his own Delta force, to get it done. But that's the same way here. And then there's got to be evidence of drones bought, or whatever you want, wherever you want to go, a video on file, things like that. That like you said, man, that's just a lot of spare time to be sitting watching soccer practice on video.
I think you'd get more from the games anyway.
You would. I mean, how did they attack, Yugoslavia? Well, not Yugoslavia, but I thought I had my phone turned off. Sorry about that. But yeah, I mean, just go back and review that. That would tell you more about how they're tactically going to deploy.
Yeah, and so this will be one that, we're getting the Connor Stallions Untold from Netflix. I don't know how much of Untold we're going to get out of that, or if it's going to be based on who Connor Stallions is. I have my very, very strong suspicions that it's actually going to be somehow pro-Michigan and Harbaugh, and almost him throwing himself under the bus.
Is it just going to be him, I think he's, going to be an assistant coach or something on a high school
Is that what he's doing now?
Yeah. Somebody was explaining to me again yesterday, and I just, they're going to follow him around, and, the way I understand, who knows where it's going. I'm sure Michigan's not real fired up about it. I wouldn't be, but because it just goes deeper into, supposedly.
My conspiracy with it actually is that Michigan is putting Connor Stallions out there to once again say he acted alone, did this all on his own. Harbaugh knew nothing.
Here's the thing.
And they can push that narrative more.
I've been around head coaches, college head coaches, almost all my adult life. Uh-huh. There's no way when a guy is standing next to your defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, you don't know who that guy is.
I know.
And what he is doing and what his mission is.
But if you're Michigan, you can just lie about it forever.
Well, you can lie about it, but that doesn't change anything. Anybody, knows football.
We know. Up next, heading down to the SEC country as we set our focus on Ole Miss for 20 most interesting today. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Here's a listener tweet. Can I tase Common Man in the nuts? Fine by us, but he may like it. Common Man and Tebow.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan.
It's shaping up to be one of the hottest summers on record, Columbus, which means your AC unit is being put to the test. With thousands of perfect Google reviews, your cooling experts at Sears Heating and Cooling will ensure your comfort just as we have the last 74 summers. Whether your AC unit is in need of maintenance, repair, or replacement, your Sears cooling team will get the job done right the first time at the best possible price. That's right, from Bexley to Sunbury, enjoy the local pricing advantage of doing business with your neighbors at Sears. SearsHeatingCooling.com.
Hi, it's Bob Capace from Worthington Jewelers. Need a perfect gift? Check out the new line of Glock watches and other stunning jewelry at Worthington Jewelers. Make every occasion sparkle with Worthington Jewelers, where exceptional gifts await.
Tired of rising food prices? Start saving with deals for days at Giant Eagle and Market District. Enjoy low prices on more than 1,000 of your go-to grocery items store-wide. Dive into deals for a limited time at your local Giant Eagle and Market District.
Okay, true stories from Huntington with Veronica and her banker, Roger.
Veronica, you were nervous about trying to get a home. Why is that?
Nobody likes to hear the word no. One day I just said, okay, I'm going to go talk to the banker.
How'd it go, Roger?
If there was a bump in the road, we hit it. But we navigated right through it. Veronica kept pushing.
Get more than money from your bank. Welcome to Huntington. Real people compensated for true stories. Loan subject to credit application and approval. Equal housing lender.
This radio commercial was made to convince you to stop speeding. We can't use siren sound effects on the radio,
So we'll use other equally jarring sound effects to get your attention, like telling you that whether you drive a little over the speed limit or a lot, you can crash just the same. You could hurt yourself or worse, others.
I'm at the scene of the collision.
And the damage you cause will be beyond repair. See, we didn't have to use crash or siren sounds after all. Speeding catches up with you. Brought to you by NHTSA.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Grainger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars, Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning, I'm Eric Reeser. The Summer Olympics officially begin this afternoon in Paris. Instead of athletes walking in and around a stadium, Olympians will be on boats going down the River Seine. Around 94 boats will carry more than 10,000 people on a 4-mile route that'll kick off the 33rd Summer Games. Even though Olympic competition has already begun, LeBron James and Team USA begin group play against Serbia Sunday morning at 11:15. In baseball Friday, the Guardians begin a 3-game series in Philadelphia against the Phillies. Ben Lively will oppose Christopher Sanchez at 6:40. As for the Reds, Cincinnati's in Tampa to battle the Reds tonight at 6:50. Nick Lodolo will go for the Redlegs. Earlier today, the Rays traded all-star outfielder Randy Arozarena to the Mariners in exchange for 4 players and a player to be named later. Trading deadline in Major League Baseball is next Tuesday at 6 o'clock. In the minors, the Clippers host the Memphis Redbirds tonight at 7:05. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Producers, co-hosts, friends, some of those things are true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
20 most interesting in just a moment. We are focusing on Ole Miss today. We'll talk to one of their beat reporters, David Eckert, coming up at 10:33. We've also got some Browns camp updates, and Dabo Swinney, he's got another comment that we're going to go over in the 11 o'clock hour. Before we get to Ole Miss, though, we were talking about the Olympic events we were excited for, and because of the trip overseas I took earlier this year, it was during the Six Nations rugby tournament, and I was in Ireland, and then we went to London, and the last full day we were there, Ireland and England played each other in the Six Nations, and I was like, oh, we got to watch this. It was being advertised all over, and I kind of fell in love with rugby. Unfortunately, my NOLA Gold of Major League Rugby got knocked out of the playoffs last weekend, but a surprising season for them. Major League Rugby, a little bit lower on the totem pole, but it's free to watch. So that's why I took to it, and right now, Team USA playing in a rugby match, so that's something I'm very excited for. Rugby usually picked up, but now I actually kind of know the rules, so I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah, I wish I totally understood the rules in rugby, because all of a sudden there's a rule, there's something happens, and I go, well, I don't have a clue why the ball was put down, why the ball was set or reset or whatever you want to call it. Why I understand why there are throw-ins sometimes.
When is it a scrum? When is it a maul?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And what's legal and what I've never totally understood what's legal. I think you can't block, right? Is that they try to talk about spread offenses. That's what you try to run in rugby all the time, and you get the counter plays. But I guess you can incidentally block, but you can't openly block.
And if you make the tackle, you have to get away from those guys, allow them to get up. But that guy can't get up with the ball. He has to pass the ball behind him, hopefully to a teammate.
But there are rules in tackling too, right? I mean, you can't just take a guy's head off, right? I mean, you have to hit from the shoulders to the knees or something.
That's been the hardest part, is figuring when they actually stop play to go over a penalty or something. And that's when I really try to pay attention.
And then the scrum thing, I guess I get it. But when you put this big 2 crabs together and then the one crab kicks the ball out the back, I mean, why are you doing all this? Why are you doing all that? I don't get that.
The biggest difference, though, if you're used to football, obviously there's, just the general look of it, but it has a similar vibe, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's not breaking the plane to get a try, which I don't understand why they don't call it touchdown, because you have to actually touch the ball down. It's
right.
That one should be touchdown, not try.
That's what football used to be. You would have to touch the ball down in the end zone, but
now it's just break the plane. So there are times where guys break the plane and they get held up by the defense and they try to push them back or just hold them up long enough for them to stop.
Where you cross the goal line is where you take the try from, or the extra point, whatever they call it.
Yeah,
it's like based on the angle.
Yeah, way further back, obviously.
Where you touch the ball down is where, in the end zone, or whatever they call it.
All right, time to go over Ole Miss.
As college football draws near, Bishop and Friends present the 20 most interesting programs. Spoiler alert, Rutgers isn't one of them.
Oh, man.
No Rutgers this year. One of the years, I think it was Shiano's first year back there, Rutgers actually was a part of this.
I want to tell you, they are at least middle of the pack, Big Ten now, though. I mean,
I think Kyle Monungai has a real chance to get some postseason awards in this conference this year.
Absolutely. And, Shiano, literally, you look back on history, right? He should have stayed there, instead of going off on his big Iliad and Odyssey. But they're respected now in the Big Ten. They're going to give you a tough fight, and
they don't have 3 automatic losses for them most years built in with Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan. At least not every year. I don't have their schedule in front of me.
Well, they did beat Michigan one year. Remember?
They did.
That was a big deal.
I don't think did Maryland ever beat Michigan or Ohio State in these 10 years?
Boy, I'm drawing a blank, man. I live for today, not yesterday.
They got close a couple of times for both of the
Ohio
teams.
State.
Yeah.
Well, everybody remembers that. But
we're talking about Ole Miss right now. So you got Lane Kiffin down there, one of the more interesting guys in college football, and I really like his career arc now because he does seem to have matured and figure out, okay, like I can't do certain things as a coach, which were things that were derailing him at his initial stops at Tennessee and USC. Then he got to Alabama as the offensive coordinator, goes down to Florida Atlantic, the Owls, and then ends up now at Ole Miss. And I think he still has a lot of his personality. He still loves to tweet. He'll throw jokes, little jabs. He's sarcastic. He's done a great job in the portal. He's got a great personality, but I think he's just matured in the right spots that he can handle being a head coach now. He's still got a great offensive mind that even though he's been around for a while, he's still relatively young, that it does seem like he's still near the cutting edge of offense. And he has made this Ole Miss team, which is in a very talent-rich state. We saw what Hugh Freeze was able to do there. Now, maybe there was some money involved with some of those recruiting classes, but hey, the money's legal now. And if I'm Lane Kiffin, I'm very happy with where this program is. And in the 12-team playoff, they are going to be in contention for that 3rd or 4th spot that the SEC is going to get most years. And maybe once they build off of that, can they be competing for the SEC championship? I think they're right on the edge of being that. But no, they're not in the class of Georgia and Alabama and where Texas is right now.
Right. And maybe even, I like LSU just because they're always going to have talent, you know. But, no, you're right about the Ole Miss. And the main thing is he stayed there, which is key for Ole Miss and key for Lane Kiffin. He's built a little bit of a fort there.
Yes.
And as opposed to going to the next greatest thing. And
jobs have been open. We've seen it.
Whether he could have been in play for the Alabama job is still up to, I guess, insiders or whatever to know. But that would have been tempting for him to make that move. I'm not, it's still not clear how much interest Alabama had in him. But that would have made more sense maybe than even Kalen DeBoer, because I think Kalen DeBoer is a hell of a coach, but Lane Kiffin has a proven track record now that he's mellowed a little bit. He doesn't throw a verbal barb out there every day of the week or every hour of every day and stuff. And but I wanted to ask you this: when you think Lane Kiffin in offense, what's the first thing that comes to mind? A lot of people used to think big time over the top passing game.
I think
that's always been inaccurate. He has always had tried to have a really sound running game.
That's what I was going to say. Like, you're right. But I was doing it in my own head. I was like, well, but he is like a passing guy. But especially with like Jackson Dart and stuff, I think he also really enjoys having a mobile quarterback.
Oh, absolutely. That's the modern college way, man. If you don't,
Alabama's offenses were the best in the Saban era when he was the offensive coordinator.
Absolutely. And then, and the funny thing about it was, remember the 2014, the semifinal game, they're kicking Ohio State's rear end up front.
Remember when he used to signal touchdowns before the guy even got there?
But they're kicking Ohio State's rear end up front, and all of a sudden they decide they're going to throw the ball with a guy that used to be a safety as their quarterback, Blake Sims, and Ohio State comes back and beats them, upsets them, and goes on and wins the national championship. That was a curious thing from both a Lane Kiffin and a Nick Saban.
Buckeyes are just lucky that it wasn't Hurts or Tua under center for that game.
The guy, I really truly believe this, the guy that Lane Kiffin owes his career to now, at least to a certain extent, is Pat Chun. He's now the now the athletic director at Washington, was at Washington State the last several years, but before that was at Florida Atlantic, and took a chance on Lane Kiffin again, and hired him and at Florida Atlantic and resurrected his career. And I think Lane Kiffin now, the more mellow Lane Kiffin, or more in control. I don't know how you would describe him. He is much more
locked in, maybe?
Locked in as a head football coach now, and it shows. And
I think his number one priority is head football coach now, and second's eighth at this point. But he still is Lane Kiffin.
Lets other people coach, which is vital. But going back to Jackson Dart, he's got one of the more talented quarterbacks in the country. There's no doubt about it. As Ryan Day pointed out again back on Tuesday when he was at the Big Ten meetings, it was important for Ohio State to get back into a situation where they've got a quarterback who can run, will run, and can beat you running. Mm-hmm. And just in the modern college game, if you've got that, think about Ohio State. Well, we're talking about Ole Miss right now. We'll talk about Ohio State later. But if they put Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins in the same backfield with Will Howard and run a running play.
Yeah, we had Quinshon Judkins with Jackson Dart last year at Ole Miss.
You've got conundrums defensively. You got conundrums on the other side of the line, and that's what Lane Kiffin has always tried to present is the defense. What are they going to do? The defense has to be thinking, what are you going to do next? It looks like where they've been behind is getting that solid, can't miss defense together, especially in the front line. Obviously Tywan Malone is now a Buckeye going into his second year as a Buckeye. One of the guys, a big, huge get they got in the recruiting ranks 3 years ago out of New Jersey. And he's not, but now they've got, it looks like a pretty good defensive front.
The Land Sharks might be back.
It always starts up front, man. Everybody will tell you that, both the offensive line, defensive line, and it'll be interesting. I think they've got a very talented defensive front.
To me, Lane Kiffin seems like a very good salesman, and I think recruiting has always been something that has come naturally to him. I would imagine very personable, very charismatic.
He can be whatever he has to be. That's what's cool about him.
I was surprised to look up their last few recruiting classes and then into the 25, which that one's incomplete, so I would imagine it goes up. They're 50th right now in 25, but I don't think that's where they're going to stick.
No.
But they are right now, they're basically like 15th. In 22, they were 15th. In 23, they were 17th. In 24, they were 17th. And it feels like, what their program's been a little bit better. Is he just pushing them to overachieve? I think that's a factor. I think Lane Kiffin is a good coach. But then it's the one, and I knew he was good in the transfer portal. I didn't know it was this good.
Oh, yeah.
22, second in the transfer rankings according to 24/7. 23 second and 24 first.
Yeah.
So that's where he's supplementing. He's using the transfer portal the way that a program that can't recruit like Georgia and Alabama and Ohio State right out of the gate. He's using the transfer portal right. Get as many good players as you can. Get a good recruiting class, but not a great recruiting class. And then every year you can supplement and pick out what spots do we need. We can find those guys in the portal, and he's probably been the best at it. Not the most gung-ho. That goes to Deion Sanders, but he's probably been the best at it in the transfer portal as far as like actually building his roster. Now, some years you end up with Ohio State just only getting 6 guys, but they're all pretty good. But for the most part, he knows how to build his roster through the transfer portal and is maybe the first coach to seem to really almost perfect the art.
I wonder what Kirby Smart has to say about that, right? It's new rules, man. You got to embrace it now. You get left behind. That's what Dan Lanning was talking about with reacting to Kirby Smart's latest criticism, and the guy he used to work for, and that's the thing about Ole Miss. You may miss on a guy the first time, or you let somebody else develop a guy, and now you go and get him and make it attractive for him. In the NIL, you've got to have your, you've got to have that available to you, and the great programs are doing that. Like, I'm sure we'll talk about this later, but Lincoln Riley, USC was lagging behind in the NIL realm, not as much as UCLA, but they've got that cranked up now to a certain extent, and that's got to be part of your recruiting process now, is putting together a roster from recruiting, but then supplementing that roster as the years go on. And Lane Kiffin embraced that maybe as fast as anyone. I think he was a little bit of a critic of it before, not thinking maybe Ole Miss, which is it's the elite school of Mississippi.
Yeah.
But from a resources standpoint, was behind the times to a certain extent. Now they're basically right up there, I think, with anybody in the Southeastern Conference.
Real question for them is Jackson Dart good enough to push them over the edge and win some of these important games for them this year. So their marquee matchups, and they get kind of an easy stretch at the beginning of the season, and then it gets tougher over the last 2 months because they're at LSU on October 12th. And man, that's going to be a good day. Isn't Penn State, Michigan the same day as Ohio State, Oregon? And then you also
and Texas, Oklahoma, I think.
Oh, wow, that's going to be great. They, as far as Ole Miss goes, then they've got Oklahoma on the 26th of October. Then their November is Georgia at home on 11-9, at Florida 11-23, and the Egg Bowl 11-29, which, did that get moved to Black Friday, or did that get...
I don't know. The Egg Bowl gets stacked in different parts of the store every year.
Yeah, but I think their schedule is manageable. Like, in those marquee games, I list 5 there. If they can find a way to go 3-2, they are going to be in a real strong contention to be in the playoff, and that's where they want to be, and that's where I think they've grown to be.
And you and I were talking about in the break, the people on watching on TV here on YouTube and everything else, they can't hear or see us. But, man, if you can't, you're in this new era, 12-team era, 12-team playoff era, you're almost better off not being in the championship game.
We've talked about that a lot, yeah.
Yeah, if you're third-place team, end up being a third-place team in the SEC, that's where you want to be.
It doesn't really make sense to have to play a game to earn a bye.
Right.
Then what? That's a wash. Because you're still playing a playoff. In the Big Ten title, you're going to play a playoff caliber team.
But that's the point. The point is the team that loses that game goes into
a really bad situation.
Goes into the 5-12 deal, and
then they still got 4 more games in front of them. They're going to go all the way.
I'm telling you, it's going to be interesting, man, to see how this gets played as the cards are dealt.
Categories for the Rebels coming up next. Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
We're the highest rated sports radio station in America. There's no joke there. We just are. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
For everyone, fuel restrictions apply.
During our 10 for 10 sale, participating items like Lay's Stacks, Rice-A-Roni, and Sparkling Ice Sparkling Water are $1 each with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Get Eco.
Hey, Aaron. Hey, Jerry. As you know, I am a world-renowned inventor. So you keep telling me. The royalties alone on that little plastic table I invented to put in pizza boxes, more than you can imagine.
And yet you come into the office here at Eco every day when you're supposed to be a silent partner.
Get Eco.
Because, Aaron, I think we should do a better job of telling people all the ways the word eco stands for everything we do.
I'm pretty sure people can figure it out.
Economical, ecological, eco-ountable, eco-accommodating.
Is there a spelling requirement to be an inventor? I mean, I barely graduated, and I can spell those words better.
Get Eco.
When people get Eco to help with their plumbing, electrical, air conditioning, they get all that. Innovative, modern, practical solutions from highly trained plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
It's all right there in the name.
It is all right there in the name.
Get Eco.
GetEco.com.
It's a summer savings extravaganza at Kemba Financial Credit Union. You pick how you want your money to grow. Choose a limited time 13-month certificate at up to 5.25% annual percentage yield to lock in your savings with a $500 minimum deposit. Or enjoy access to your funds anytime with a money market at 4.75% APY intro rate until October 31st with a $5,000 minimum balance and a $1 million maximum. Visit Kemba.org for details. Restrictions apply. Advantage status required. Federally insured by NCUA.
We don't talk politics on The Fan. We'd rather talk about things that unite us, like the exciting Buckeye season ahead and pizza. How about the rebirth of the Jackets and pizza? Your home of the Buckeyes, Jackets, pizza, and no politics. The Fan.
Hi, I'm Joanna Williams, General Manager at Tansky Sawmill Toyota, and our summer clearance event starts now with 0% financing on the 2024 Toyota Tundra. Visit TanskySawmillToyota.com for details. Hurry in. Offer ends July 31st. And when you think Toyota, think Tansky.
Think Toyota. Think Tansky. Think Tansky.
With approved credit, 0% up to 48 months, tax, title, and $250 doc fee not included.
Friday, July 26th is Recovery Ohio's Mental Health Day at the Ohio State Fair. Visit the Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services, the Department of Insurance, and other state agency booths. Come learn about mental health resources available to you and to your family. Join us on Friday, July 26th for Recovery Ohio's Mental Health Day at the Ohio State Fair. We'll see you there.
We're 1,000 miles from the southern border,
but illegal immigrant crime is in our backyard.
This man is charged with aggravated murder after a body was found in an alley just north of Cincinnati. Furman Garcia Gutierrez is an illegal immigrant who's been to jail nearly a dozen times, deported 7 times.
Senator Sherrod Brown voted 10 times to protect sanctuary cities in Ohio that release dangerous, illegal immigrant criminals like this one onto our streets to commit even worse crimes in Ohio and across the country. Call Senator Sherrod Brown at 216-522-7272 and tell him to support S1068, the Stop Dangerous Sanctuary Cities Act, and start voting against dangerous illegal immigrant criminals and for our safety in Ohio. Paid for by One Nation. www.onenationamerica.org.
Need to hire quality candidates fast? You need Indeed. Our video interview tool makes it easy and effortless to meet with candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Tracking a beautiful day out there today, going sunny and warm with a high of 84. The sky will be a little bit hazy, and that's actually because of some of the wildfire smoke from our western wildfires. We'll be looking at upper level smoke today, so it should not impact the air quality on the ground. 88 and sunny tomorrow. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
The uncle you never knew you had. The friends you kind of wish you didn't. This is Bishop and Friends.
Ole Miss, 20 most interesting. We continue our discussion about the Rebels, and coming up, we got the categories, but let's hear their fight song. I had a college roommate who, he and two of my college roommates, actually, they went down. One of them was friends with a guy who was a president of a frat down at Ole Miss. And they went and they did the whole Grove experience. They had, because they were friends with the president, they had like pledges go and hold them seats in the stadium. And then they went to the stadium and told those guys to go away, because apparently that's how they do it.
Kind of like a military academy, yeah.
Yes, and then that was the game that they upset Alabama, and they tried to, and well, they did. They carried the goalpost out. And I was like, man, you guys chose a hell of a game to go to. So it seems like a fun place to go.
Oh, the Grove. That's one thing I've never been. When I retired a long time ago, I was going to travel to all these sites I've never been to and experience.
Grove's on that list.
Yeah, but then I got lured back into covering Ohio State football by Austin Ward and Will Crawl at Thurman Monroe, but I still went to an Alabama at Texas A&M game. I've been to Notre Dame several times, but Notre Dame, Virginia Tech, Notre Dame. But yeah, sooner rather than later, I'm going to get to all these things. But the Grove is quite the experience pregame. I hear.
Modern college football grade for Ole Miss, Tim.
Man, I think it's incomplete, isn't it?
It seems like it's on the right track.
It's on the right track. Yeah. I mean, they're trending toward an A. Not A+, but they're trending toward it, because are they ever going to be that perpetual contender for an SEC championship? The next couple of years will show that. Does Kalen DeBoer get the job done at Alabama, or does it fall off? Yeah. But I think Ole Miss is poised to jump into any gap.
What say you, Reese?
I'm going to give it a grade. I'll say a B+. I think what you guys had talked about with their portal last segment is valid. And then I think about Quinshon Judkins. I go, how the hell didn't they keep him? Well, I think we can, it's a monetary issue for collectives associated with Ole Miss compared to the enthusiasm of collectives with The Ohio State University. So a B+, except a B+, it would get them an A if they'd managed to keep Quinshon, but they didn't. So B+.
Yeah, well, there were some whispers that they didn't want Quinshon back, but that seems like
maybe vice versa. I mean, they used him like like on auto racing when you put a new tire on a car and it goes out too many laps. That's what they overused him the last 2 years.
I went with an A for it, but I could totally, the thing right now, it's because of what they can do in the portal. Those numbers of second, first in the portal rankings are really good. But is that something that Lane Kiffin can keep up, or is it something that other teams are going to catch up to him and they're going to fall back to kind of where their recruiting rankings are?
It comes down, do you get it done on the field? And so far they haven't gotten it done on the field in the ultimate way.
Do they have the right coach grade?
What is the coach grade? Do they have the right coach?
Yeah.
What's the grade?
Yes.
Oh yeah, you got an A. This guy has embraced the modern way of doing things. They've been cutting edge to a certain extent, like Dan Lanning was talking about yesterday. I mean, whatever the rules allow, they're going to try to find their way into exploiting that. So I would give them an A because I really have always liked Lane Kiffin, from talking to him a couple times to just the way he goes about things. He's learned his lesson in a lot of ways. He's paid attention when he was at Alabama on what it takes to build a true program under Nick Saban. Yes, I would give him an A because I like the way he's headed. I don't think he's going away anytime soon.
Yeah, I agree. I think Lane Kiffin gets it. He's also a pretty fun follow on social media. That seems to be pretty popular with the kids.
Tosh.
I'm in the same. He does look like Daniel Tosh.
He does, man.
I'm in the same boat as you, but just a little lower because I went A- because I do reserve A and A+ for coaches that I think where they're currently at can bring their team to a national championship, and I'm just not 100% sold on them. But I do think they can make the playoff and make some noise once they're in there. I think they're that kind of program, but I just don't know if they're national title grade at this point. Uniform grade for the Ole Miss Rebels.
I give them a B, because I liked it when I was growing up. I grew up in Alabama and in Texas, but their uniform used to had that dark blue about it and had that New York Giants look. It was kind of cool. They had a blue helmet with a red stripe down the middle, and it was a little bit different compared to a lot of other teams. I don't like the lighter blue, but that's just me.
Don't like the lighter blue.
No, I don't like the lighter blue. So that's just personal preference. I'd give them a B+, I guess. It kind of reminds me of that when you were looking in the Sears catalog before Christmas, and that was one of the options, was a uniform that kind of looked like Ole Miss's.
Yeah.
I never quite liked that. I liked the fact that you couldn't necessarily get Alabama's uniform from Sears Roebuck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's a B+ for me as well. I love the script Ole Miss on the football helmets.
I do too. I like that.
It's a clean look. And they've got new all whites for the 2024 season, and it just looks like a very clean, crisp football uniform.
I think it's a B overall. I agree with a lot of the stuff you guys say, but the dark blue is a lesser favorite for me. And when they are in the baby blues, that gets an A. I like the baby blue.
You know what's funny about the dark blue was, we're listening to their fight song. Their fight song used to be Dixie. Before things changed
Yes.
in the mid, and I don't think they got the new fight song till like the late 70s or something. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe later than that. But
and they had to change their physical mascot.
Yeah,
right?
It's just funny that their main color was dark blue. If you follow my drift.
Coolest player to play there.
Archie Manning, the original Archie Manning, dude.
I don't know if you'd be old enough to see him in college, but you saw him when he was a professional player,
no,
right?
I saw him. I've talked to him one time by breaking my heart when they beat Alabama one year, and then Alabama turned the tide on him. He was tough as nails. He played with a broken arm one year, late or middle of the season and stuff. He was, how slow Peyton and Eli look. Mm-hmm. Archie was like a running demon, man. He was like a all-purpose. And of course he ends up getting drafted by their favorite team in Mississippi then was New Orleans Saints, because it was right down the road in pro football, and he just got beat up in the NFL because they really stunk. But Archie Manning, without a doubt.
I'm going to go with
should have won the Heisman.
I'm going to go with the CFL's most outstanding player in 2023, quarterback Chad Kelly.
Swag Kelly.
I forgot he threw 31 touchdowns in 2015.
The way he used to throw the ball, he looked like he was launching a missile. It would come from back here and just come off the rails,
Archie Manning stood out for me too, but obviously I never really got to see him play. And then I remembered this, and I had to look up who it was, but wide receiver Elijah Moore. Yeah. He was the one who did the dog peeing celebration in the 2019 Egg Bowl, and I was like, you know what? And it ended up not being a good thing for the team, but I liked it. I think that's a fun.
It was off the chart.
College football footnote there for you. Would they make Lance Harbor's Final Five grade?
Everything I've ever heard, I've never been to Ole Miss for a game or anything, but I've read about it. All these authors from there, and what I'm talking about. The mystique of the town Oxford would have to be an allure, I would think, for a young man, especially back in the day. So But no, I don't think he'd make their top 5.
No, I went F as well. Reese, are you in that boat?
I don't think the hat would be on the table.
No.
Yeah, I think he'd take the visit, but I don't think they'd make his top 5.
Yeah.
And last one, we're up against it, so I think we'd all probably be in this boat, right on the edge between playoff and chumps. I think that there's a chance they could teeter either way, but I think I'll lean a little bit higher chance to make the playoff.
If there's a chance, if you can use the term sneak in to the 12, 5 through 12, they definitely have. It is right there in front of them if they take care of business.
David Eckert of the Clarion-Ledger. He joins us next for more on Ole Miss. Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
If your idea of the perfect radio show is all Buckeyes all the time, then it's your lucky day, Slappy, the Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan.
We know your golf game is ugly, but your course doesn't have to be. Experience the natural beauty of Delaware Golf Club today. Delaware Golf Club is now open to the public and only 10 miles up the road from 270. For the best rates, book your tee time online at DelawareGolfClub.com.
Ready for all those summer get-togethers? Fill up your grocery basket at Giant Eagle. Their Deals for Days program features more than 1,000 deals on your favorite items. Barbecue parties or graduations are easier to plan when you buy at Giant Eagle. Learn more at GiantEagle.com.
You're going to feel a puff of air.
Jong's Optometry has set their sights on staffing up.
Try the next line. Hey, Kim, can you tell her 2 o'clock we're running 15 behind? Sorry, we're a bit backed up today.
He needs an optometric technician to keep an eye on it all.
Where are the dilation drops?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Meet Cheryl.
Hey.
She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
We're dealing at Eckert Nissan. Hundreds of Nissans in stock, on the ground, and priced to sell fast. Low lease payments on brand new Eckert Nissan Sentras, only $229 a month. Now we're really dealing. With our best value guarantee and 72-hour exchange policy, you can't buy the wrong car. Visit the Eckert Mega Mall off 270 and 33, or shop thousands of new and certified used at ReichertNissan.com. We're dealing.
With approved credit, 2024 Sentra SR FWD 24-month lease with $3,000 due at signing and $731.24.
Rothman and Ice.
I'm okay with slow playing this. You should not be a prisoner to, well, if you can't start right away, that means it was a bad pick.
Rothman and Ice. Weekdays at noon.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus.
The Fan.
Hey there, friends. It's Bo Bishop here for my friends at RCD RV. Remember your favorite summer vacation as a kid? Well, I sure do, and I can tell you those memories will last forever. And there is still time to create those memories with your family when you visit the fine people at RCD RV. You can literally go anywhere in an RV. The mountains, the lake, road trip of a lifetime. RCD has over 600 new and pre-owned RVs in stock, something for every budget. Visit them at one of their 3 Central Ohio locations or online anytime at rcdrv.com.
When it comes to protecting your business, whether it's your staff, property, or assets, don't make a crucial mistake by contracting companies that provide subpar and unprofessional service. What you need is a security partner known for their unwavering professionalism and unnatural liability. You need Event Risk. Event Risk is a U.S.-based, veteran-owned company that not only specializes in on-site guarding, but also offers armed security associates and executive protection agents. Event Risk, elite protection for your peace of mind.
Hello, my name is Eric Rose, CEO and founder of Event Risk Security Services. We are a U.S.-based, veteran-owned company providing protection services and consulting to Fortune 500 corporations, movie studios, celebrities, and high-net-worth individuals. If you're tired of fluff margins with low compensation for poor quality security officers and an endless revolving door of vendor staffing, then give us a try. For virtually the same cost, we can then address what keeps you up at night.
Visit EventRiskInc.com.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use, now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career and they talked to me about it.
He was done in just months.
I did do it online.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at My Computer Career.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Find us on YouTube. Search WBNS Radio and you can see what Bo looks like. But only if you subscribe. This is Bishop and Friends.
Shops and Tim May with you today, and we're going to head out onto the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline, talk to David Eckert, Ole Miss reporter for the Clarion-Ledger. David, we were just talking about Lane Kiffin a ton in the previous two segments, and now the idea that, like, it seems that he's still Lane Kiffin, charisma, personality-wise, but he's matured and really stabilized himself as being like, okay, yes, he can handle this as a head coach. Is that the vibe that Ole Miss is going? And the fact that he has rebuked some possibilities of having other ones, does it feel like a really strong marriage that's going to go on for a while now? And are both sides happy with it?
Yeah. Well, that's the perpetual question that everyone here asks, right? But yeah, I think so. Look, I mean, his daughter goes to school here. He's got some family stuff that keeps him here. And obviously, I mean, from the Ole Miss perspective, it would just take something ridiculous for them to decide that they're not happy with this relationship. So, I wouldn't go as far as to say this is going to last forever, because every offseason there's something, I mean, even last offseason, he was on the original list for Texas A&M before he kind of, said no thanks. So, I do think there was always going to be that noise, but he has some stuff besides football that's keeping him happy in Oxford, and obviously Ole Miss fans are thrilled about that.
Yeah, David, this is Tim May. It's funny because the guy that ended up hiring the Texas A&M coach is now the athletic director at Ohio State, right? Things change quickly in college football. Hey, well, we've been talking about Ole Miss as our team of the day, as far as like what do you call it, the top 20. I wanted to ask you, does it feel like they're as close as ever to a college football playoff berth now that, of course, it's gone to 12? But do you feel like they're poised to step into that, that realm of the third or fourth place team in the SEC and be playing in the postseason?
Yeah, I think they expect to be playing in the college football playoff, which is, kind of a crazy thing to say, thinking about where this program was 4 or 5 years ago, right?
Yeah, yes.
I think, they said that publicly. That's their goal. They kind of, allocated their resources NIL-wise in a way that allowed them to make a push this year, right? Mm-hmm. You look at their transfer class again, top-ranked transfer class in the country. They saw what they were bringing back and said, we're going to go for it. So, I do think if they don't get in, there's going to be a lot of disappointed people. That's definitely the expectation.
In the major Power 4 conferences now, you look across the board, especially their top teams, the SEC probably has the best returning quarterback stable right now. Where does Jackson Dart fit into that, and do you think he's a guy who can elevate Ole Miss even more this season?
Yeah, I think he's a top 3 quarterback in the SEC, right? Carson Beck, Quinn Ewers, Jackson Dart is kind of where I would go with that. He's got all of the talent that's required. He can make every throw. He really uses his feet. He's really physical for a quarterback, which I think is actually a little bit disconcerting to some people here.
Yeah.
He'll lower his shoulder and go through guys. And then really, and I know it's cliche, but he's really, really valuable, and I wrote about this week. He's really valuable to the Ole Miss program from a leadership perspective because, look, this is a team, this is a program that brings in new guys, and not just a recruiting class and not just 5 transfers. I mean, 20-plus transfers every year. And he's been really instrumental in constructing a culture in the locker room that can kind of facilitate that and make sure that things don't go the wrong way. As you know, you do that, you expect there to be some problems.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been really important in that regard too. So yeah, I mean, I think the numbers can be huge for him this year because of the weapons that they've got and his talent and this offense. It's kind of a perfect storm. So yeah, I think he's poised to have a really big season.
Plus, does he get to fly private jet everywhere he goes now? I mean, I'm trying to with his deal.
We asked him about this at the Lanning Passing Academy, funnily enough, and he was like, "No, I only use it with my teammates."
There you go, share alone. Hey, yeah, David. I mean, a new day has dawned for sure, right? In major college football. I mean, but
exactly.
Hey, but I wanted to ask you of the guys they got in the portal, who are you just fired up about seeing? I mean, it can definitely make a difference in your mind to make this team different from last year, so to speak.
Yeah, they I think had a really transformative offseason in the trenches.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So they go in to get Princely Umamielen from Florida, all SEC edge rusher, Walter Nolan, elite defensive lineman from Texas A&M.
Yes.
So those are the 2 guys at the top of the list. Look, they were small last year, and it showed in their games against really good teams. They're not small anymore.
Yeah.
And then, on offense, again, you look at the offensive line, they don't really go and get any superstars, but they're really big, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they've got 3-4 guys who are over 6'6", 330 pounds. Appropriately, their new left tackle is named Diego Pounds from North Carolina.
Yeah,
yeah. So I think that's really the area of impact for them.
Yeah, I was going to say, we just got back from Big Ten meetings, and that's the thing about Oregon. Oregon now looks like an Alabama or an Ohio State, or for that sense, this year Ole Miss from in the trenches. That's where they were really seemingly lacking for a while, and definitely with Ole Miss. I think it's pretty interesting you went there with that. I just wanted to interject that before we move on here. Go ahead, Chops.
Talking to David Eckert on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline, Ole Miss reporter for the Clarion-Ledger. I'm looking at their schedule, and I think Lane Kiffin's going to have a really tough job as a coach. Not that any year is easy, but they should be 6-0 after those first 6 games. I mean, they should be better than all of those teams there. And then the season really starts, especially over the next 5 weeks. They're going to have their 3 toughest opponents. I don't even think there's a debate on that. How do you balance a tale of 2 seasons on each side of that schedule, 6-6?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. But, you play in the SEC, you reasonably expect your tougher games to kind of be later in the year, right? So, that Oklahoma game is huge. You got to win your games at home. I think you look at going to LSU at night, and that to me is kind of the game where you say, all right, are they just trying to get into college football playoffs? Because you can lose that game and do that, right?
Right.
But if you want to open the door towards maybe playing in the SEC championship game, you probably have to go on the road and win that game. So that to me is like the first season-defining game. What is the objective going to be here? And then obviously you get Georgia at home. They got crushed on the road last year, but you get them at home.
Mm-hmm.
And, we'll see what happens. They're really that game, to me, did their off-season kind of revolution work? Because They got mauled at the line of scrimmage in that game last year. Just complete. I don't know if they touched Carson Beck the entire game.
Yeah.
So that's, hey, did this work? Did what they said? So, 3 huge games. If you go 2-1, you're looking at maybe going to Atlanta post, after the regular season. So, huge games for sure.
Or at the least hosting, in that first round of 5 and 12, 5 through 12 in the college football playoff. You want to host that game if you can, right? Isn't it really funny, David, that we got Ohio State, Oregon is a Big Ten game now. Ole Miss, Oklahoma is an SEC game. That's crazy, the new era, right?
Yeah, it's weird. It's I don't know. I don't know what I think about it, to be honest. But obviously,
let it play out, right?
Yeah, exactly. Everybody here is really excited about that Oklahoma game. Even I was talking about it to Archie Manning, Ole Miss legend, obviously.
Yes.
And he's fired up for that game. Like, that's the one he has circled. So, it's different, but it's exciting in a way, for sure.
David, thanks for joining us today. Enjoy camp opening up. Enjoy the season. And maybe, hey, if Ohio State and Ole Miss match up in the playoff, we'll have you on again.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
He's David Eckert, Ole Miss reporter for the Clarion-Ledger down there in Mississippi on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Let the guy pitch and more coming up in Thing or Not a Thing. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
All the 10 TV people come over to our side of the building to take a deuce. That should tell you something about how we operate. The Fan.
You know that project you've been working on? Just chipping away at it, dreaming of the day you get to show it off? Then, when you're least expecting it, cancer. And finishing that project actually happens. I would know. I've been restoring this car for years, and today I'm giving it to my granddaughter. It's her 16th birthday and 2 years since my cancer diagnosis.
Mom, you finished it?
Happy birthday, boo-boo. You keep making plans.
Visit ohiohealth.com/keepmakingplans to learn more.
I'm Joanna Williams, General Manager at Tansky Sawmill Toyota, and our summer clearance event starts now with 0% financing on the 2024 Toyota Tundra. Visit TanskySawmillToyota.com for details. Hurry in. Offer ends July 31st. And when you think Toyota, think Tansky.
Think Toyota. Think Tansky. Think Tansky.
With approved credit, 0% up to 48 months, tax, title, and $250 doc fee not included.
Okay, true stories from Huntington with Jen and Mindy.
Somebody came through the drive-thru. I looked at the ID. It said Mindy.
You knew Mindy?
I did. I said, oh my gosh, hi, Mindy. And this person looked over and drove away, left everything at the branch. I knew it wasn't her, so I contacted our fraud department and had a hold put on the account.
Well, sounds like she helped save you from identity theft, Mindy.
Yeah, she saved the day. She was my little guardian angel.
Get more than money from your bank. Welcome to Huntington. Real people compensated for true stories.
You've waited all summer, and now is the time to take action at Buckeye Lake Marina. Join Buckeye Lake Marina on Saturday, July 27th from 9 to 5 for their massive summer boat extravaganza. Door prizes and giveaways, free food and refreshments. There will also be dock demonstrations with every available boat in the water. Take a ride aboard the latest and greatest new and used boats offered on Buckeye Lake. Don't miss Buckeye Lake Marina's summer boat extravaganza this Saturday, July 27th from 9 to 5. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com for details.
Common Man and T-Bone.
I've had it where I'm standing there and it's just like, you got to be done by now. And there's whoosh, and I'm like, I'm not done. Stop whooshing. Let me finish.
Common Man and T-Bone.
Sponsored by the Hinderer Motor Company.
Weekdays 3 to 6 on The Fan.
For years, you've heard their name on the radio, seen their ads on TV, and spotted their trucks in your neighborhood. Maybe you've even shared a laugh or simply met a friendly team member at a fair or festival around Columbus. Newman Roofing has become a trusted name in Central Ohio and has built a reputation of honesty and professionalism within the Central Ohio community, which is why with over 32 years of service, Newman Roofing believes in giving back to the very same community that has supported them all these years. They've built lasting relationships with families, and it shows. Just look at their hundreds of 5-star reviews online to see how many people have trusted Newman Roofing with their roofing projects. Not only that, but how many have had their expectations exceeded. When it comes to your roofing needs, choose the company that your neighbors trust. For a customer experience you won't receive anywhere else, call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF. That's 614-NEW-ROOF, or visit us online at newmanroofing.com. Don't just get a new roof, get a Newman roof.
Hey, Bobby Carpenter here from Carpenter Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electric. We save our customers tons of money and frustration by simply inspecting their sewer, water, and drain lines with our high-tech cameras before there's a problem. Check us out at carpentercolumbus.com. That's carpentercolumbus.com.
Diamond Seller's Wedding Weekend is back. Shop buy one, get one half off wedding bands, 20% off diamond anniversary bands, and special offers on diamond engagement rings. Visit us at Diamond Seller's Wedding Weekend, Friday, July 26th and Saturday, July 27th on Sawmill Road.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. If you need a new roof but you're not sure you can afford it, no problem. Right now, Able Roof is offering no payments, no interest until 2026 for qualified buyers. Yep, that's the same Able Roof that's been voted the #1 roofing company in Columbus by Consumer Choice Awards 22 years in a row. Want more? Able Roof will give you up to $1,000 off a new roof, siding, or windows. This is a limited time offer, so call Able Roof today.
Call Able for the proof. 444-ROOF.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. The best hair on the air. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan. And as we do every day this time for Thing or Not a Thing.
Thing or Not a Thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
Reeser, what do we have today?
So it was announced yesterday the new NBA rights deal is going to not include Warner Brothers Discovery, despite Warner Brothers having about 5 days to match what many thought was going to be Amazon's, $1.1 billion package. Well, the NBA it felt like they kind of just ignored that. And about an hour ago, Charles Barkley, who now looks to be on the outside looking in to NBA coverage this upcoming season, released a statement, and I will read it for you now. Clearly, the NBA has wanted to break up with us from the beginning. I'm not sure TNT ever had a chance. TNT matched the money, but the league knows Amazon and these tech companies are the only ones willing to pay for the rights when they double in the future. The NBA didn't want to take them off. It's a sad day when owners and commissioners choose money over the fans. It just sucks. I just want to thank everyone who has been at Turner for the last 24 years. They are the best people and the most talented, and they deserve better. I also want to thank the NBA and its fans, the best in sport. We're going to give you everything we have next season. Thing or not a thing?
It seems like it's one of the... I think it's a minor thing because it's at least Charles Barkley going out there and kind of reiterating a stance he already took that he's going to retire, something that I'm not sure I believe, but he is still sticking with that line. As far as the contract and stuff goes, it's the 25-26 season, so you'll still have TNT for one more year, so you'll get kind of a swan song with all those guys, and we'll see if they actually do become free agents and want to go anywhere. But I'm interested. Warner Brothers Discovery sounds like they want to go to court over this, because it's not only that like their bid got turned down, it was a matching offer written contractually for them, and they said, we did match the offer. The NBA saying, no, it's actually not the same value, and we'll see what numbers they come up with for that. But that's the interesting part, is if this actually goes to court, how is the NBA going to prove that TNT didn't match the offer, something that they would have essentially been compelled to take once they did match it contractually? But they just didn't. They just said, now we're going with Amazon anyways.
Well, Charles Barkley's statement seems to put out there, and I'm not an expert on this at all, but it's more of, you may have matched the offer, but in matching that offer, did you project future-wise what's going to be available from a monetary standpoint? And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's professional sports, which means money is at the heart of the whole thing, and future earnings are at the heart of the whole thing. The problem with it is you get used to that, the TNT show. I mean, with Charles and the boys, and it's going to be a shame, because I thought that was about as entertaining as it gets from a studio show dealing with any of the professional sports. So I will miss Charles Barkley if he's not on the air.
We'll piggyback off that a little bit. According to Front Office Sports, Amazon will receive 3 years of the WNBA Finals as part of the league's historic $2.2 billion media rights deal. That would mark the first time a streaming giant has the exclusive rights to a final series of any major U.S. professional sports league. Thing or not a thing?
I think it's a double thing because one of the problems with the WNBA and its coverage over the years is like I don't know where it's at. I don't know where to find it. Now the Caitlin Clark interest of the Indiana Fever and really being able to advertise those games has helped with the especially ESPN broadcast of the games, but I think the Amazon Prime one is going to be a big one that people they're going to tune into WNBA games because they're just on Amazon Prime and they see that it's on. So it'll turn a little bit to get some of that like kind of flipping mentality even though it's a streamer. The other thing for it is it's not one of the 4 big leagues that we talk about here in North America, but it's a league that is gaining traction and especially with the Caitlin Clark effect, gaining younger viewers now, and they're shifting on Amazon Prime. If that goes successfully, other leagues are going to start to look, well, what can we offer that is some of our marquee product in the streaming world? Because more important than raw numbers of viewers are getting young people interested in watching it because they're the future of your audience as a league goes. So get used to it. Games are going to streaming.
I don't know how many packages we get delivered per month, even per week to our house from Amazon, but it's huge. Number 2, my remote control on my 75, as I call it, has an Amazon button.
It's like as big as this window.
And I occasionally mistakenly push it, and but I learned where it was last year to watch Thursday Night Football.
There you go.
So times they are changing. I mean, the if anything, the Pac-12 tried to get into that game too early, prematurely.
Yes.
And everything fell apart for the Pac-12 in that regard, chasing the streaming numbers or the streaming dollars. But that's where it's headed. To me, if I was the networks, I'd be happy because that means probably Amazon's got to be advertising the fact of where it is so people can find it, down the road. So it should be a little bit of a push there from a financial standpoint. But you either hop on board the train or the train is headed to the next town without you.
And the train will start moving faster if the WNBA proves that not only does it work, but like increases their viewership for their championship.
I don't know if it'll be maglev, but it will definitely be an electric train.
Yeah.
On Thursday, Padres righty Dylan Cease threw a no-hitter against the Nationals. It's the second no-no in San Diego history, the second thrown in Major League Baseball this season. Cease was almost pulled in the 7th inning, and after the game, he told MLB Network that he had the lobby to keep his no-no going.
He said, nice job, and I looked up, and it was like 94 pitches, and I said, I feel great, and if we get through the next one in like 105, then I've thrown 113 this year, and so... thankfully, they let me talk him into it, and then here we are.
Thing or not a thing?
Sports are supposed to be fun, and I do understand that these guys, their livelihood depends on them achieving the actual win-loss record. But no-nos are cool, and we want to see them in baseball. So if a guy is close and he's still not, exceeding his max amount of pitches, which is what he's saying there, yes, let him keep going because that's what we want to see. We all want to see great performances in sports, and it's one of the most annoying things of baseball that it has problems getting people invigorated and excited for their game that, you take out a guy when he's got a no-no going into the 7th because of his pitch count. No, let the guys go if they want to go. I understand if a guy says, no, I'm too sore, and he wants to go out, also fine. But if he wants to go, let him go out there and continue to compete.
Is the velocity still there? Is the location still there? Is his stuff still being stuff?
Yeah, or are you just making a straight up rest decision?
I understand the modern way of doing things from a number standpoint. I mean, there are proven things that pitchers, different pitchers, you keep counts on them and seeing where their stuff falls off and what pitch, etc. You've got to err on that side usually, but when a no-no is such a such a rare commodity. It was just the second one in San Diego history, right? As you pointed out a minute ago, the earlier thing, you kind of, as a fan, you want to see him go for it. A combined no-hitter, ho-hum, right? I mean, but a no-no and plus, it establishes one more reason why you get fannies in the seats. Hey, that guy's pitching today. Let's go watch him throw another no-no.
Reeser, don't think I didn't notice you snuck a baseball one in there with Bo out.
Yeah.
And I just, whenever I can.
And I commented on it like I cared.
It helped that he made some history.
College leaders are still trying to figure out revenue sharing. That and more in what we learned this week. Coming up next, Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
News, opinions, and insight, all before breakfast. Rise and shine with Morning Juice.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Men, this is Jeff, and I'm one of the owners of Tri-State Men's Health, where we treat men's sexual health issues here in our area. I say our area because I'm from here, and I'm proud that the practices in the Tri-State region are leading the charge against erectile dysfunction, low testosterone, and other conditions that affect a man's sexual well-being. At Tri-State Men's Health, we're experts in dealing with these problems. For ED, we have a variety of treatment options and treatment combinations that if you're like most men, you will get your sex life back. And I can say this with all confidence as we have the protocols that work in well over 90% of cases. If you're suffering with the fatigue, low sex drive, bad sleep, brain fog, and other symptoms of low testosterone, our treatment plans are highly effective with most men seeing significant changes in just a few weeks. So call Tri-State Men's Health today. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 2 convenient locations, just off 270 in Hilliard and near the Medical Mile in Westerville. Tri-State Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
You're going to feel a puff of air.
Jong's Optometry has set their sights on staffing up.
Try the next line. Hey, Kim, can you tell our 2 o'clock we're running 15 behind? Sorry, we're a bit backed up today.
He needs an optometric technician to keep an eye on it all.
Where are the dilation drops?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Meet Cheryl.
Hey.
She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's got to be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The Paris Summer Games officially begin this afternoon with the Olympic opening ceremony. It'll be a little different this year. 94 boats carrying more than 10,000 Olympians will parade down the river Seine. Olympic competition began earlier this week and will continue through Sunday, August 11th. LeBron James and the U.S. men's basketball team will play Serbia on Sunday morning. In baseball Friday, the Guardians begin a 3-game series in Philadelphia against the Phillies. Ben Lively will oppose Christopher Sanchez at 6:40. Guardians enter the weekend leading the Twins by 4.5 games in the AL Central. As for the Reds, Cincinnati's in Tampa to battle the Rays Friday at 6:50. Nick Lodolo will go for the Redlegs. Earlier today, the Rays traded All-Star outfielder Randy Arozarena to the Mariners in exchange for 5 players. Trade deadline in Major League Baseball is next Tuesday, July 30th at 6 p.m. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Bo knows many people. He talks to the interesting ones on this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends, final hour here on a Friday. And it's time to look into what we learned this week, which will be interesting, Tim, because you weren't here all week learning all this stuff, but I think you're going to be up to date on it.
I was trying to pay attention from afar.
We're not trying to do too much around here, but over the course of 5 days, you might have gleaned some stuff. Bishop and Friends present What We've Learned This Week.
Yeah, did they have Bishop and Friends going over the loudspeakers there in Lucas Oil Stadium?
Just in the interludes.
Just in between.
And Willie Mays stepped to the microphone and said, and then they'd cut to the next coach.
we'll start with some stuff from Big Ten Media Days as far as what we learned this week. This one sort of off to the side, but Ross Dellinger had a piece talking to Ross Bjork, Ohio State's new athletic director, and basically it came with the idea that like they are thinking about all these things, they are asking all of the questions, but the revenue sharing one, which is not really are we going to do it today, it's essentially being finalized that you're going to be forced to do it. The settlement has been given to the judge, and there's legal stuff with it, but both sides want to settle at this point and are okay with the settlement, so it looks like that's going to go through, and there might be some tweaks to it, but that's what's going to happen, and then you're going to be in that $20 to $22 million range that you can revenue share with your athletes. But Ross Bjork was saying that nobody knows exactly how it's going to work, especially with Title IX. And Title IX is not an NCAA rule. It is a federal rule. And it applies to, and it applies to, exactly. It's not a rule, it's a law. And
big difference.
All public schools, not just colleges, have to comply with this, and not just athletics. There's all sorts of things that Title IX goes under, but the biggest one we talk about is college athletics with it. When you look into it, and I've done this, and I'm not a lawyer in any sort of way, but it is always phrased pretty open-ended as it's about opportunity, equal opportunity for both sides. So I don't know if they're going to figure out a way that means that they have to be paid fully that they have to be paid evenly, the men and women on each side.
You're going to fall down that well, man, and you're not going to be able to climb out.
Yes, or does it mean that they have to give equal opportunity? Is there going to be a school that figures out something where it's to get revenue sharing or to get into that pool? If your sport accomplishes something, or if you accomplish something as far as the actual, what creates the revenue, the ratings and everything, I don't know. These are kind of all on the board, and I think all these questions need to be asked. They will figure it out, but they just have to.
Well, yeah, and that's always been the next step is, number one, there will be revenue sharing. There will be reparations paid, for one of another term, to athletes back through 2016 and forward from that 2.3 whatever it was, $1 billion settlement that's going to be shared by, I'm sure some Ohio State football players and et cetera are going to get some kind of little check. But, Title IX is a quagmire to a certain extent, because at first it was, basically based on opportunities, meaning, is in essence interpreted as scholarship apportionment. But like at Ohio State, somebody was telling me the other day, and I haven't looked this up, but Ohio State might have more females enrolled than males, and part of the formula is not just your sports, but part of it goes on how many.
It has to match the makeup of your undergrad
population. So, those computations are up for grabs. And then in revenue sharing part, can you divorce the revenue generating sports, which are very few, football, men's basketball, women's basketball in some places, that's about it, that make more money than they spend. Can you divorce those from the other sports who should be really happy they're getting scholarships, really, when you get right down to it. And then now with the revenue sharing and everything else, where do you go in terms of what scholarships you cut for other sports to get to where you need to go? Like you said, just talking about it makes your head spin. And as Pat Chun and I were talking about yesterday, the new AD at Washington, as soon as you make a decision, and it will be almost every school making those decisions, then there are going to be lawsuits brought by somebody who's been offended.
It's going to be a lot of guesses of what falls under Title IX and works. Yeah.
Lawyers are going to make a lot of money. They always have, but they're definitely going to make a lot of money on the new look NCAA or major college sports as we head forward.
Because we had the people in the federal government say that Title IX is not going to, the federal government's not going to come up with what the guidelines for Title IX need to be. And that's because it doesn't just dictate what goes on in sports. It's a rule that you have to interpret as a public institution.
Yeah, and they don't want to divorce. Nobody wants to divorce right now. Nobody wants to divorce, for example, the biggest revenue generating cow out there, which is football, from everything else, and make those guys employees and stuff. Nobody wants to word contract in anything at this point from a student athlete standpoint. So, it's going to be. This just started. This is the beginning of the beginning, not the beginning of the end. This is the beginning of the beginning.
I'll let you go first on this one because you were there live. But Tony Petitti, he says he's okay with 18 teams in the Big Ten. for now. I added the for now, but that's what it always feels like.
I was going to say, he didn't say for now at all. He basically, just like a year ago, was 16, and they were okay. And then along came Jones, I think was the song, but along came Washington and Oregon. To me, it's always got to get to 20. I think you agree with that, right? After you moved on, why not go to a nice round number? The Big Ten times 2 is what I thought the logo would be, and Big Ten X2, and go ahead and, like I've said all along here the last several years, I do believe Notre Dame and North Carolina will end up in the Big Ten eventually, based on the way things have gone, the way I expect things to go. But 20 seems a lot riper than 18, but I'm going to tell you 18 is a lot.
Yeah, I always thought that they wanted to get to 20 when they went to 16 and added USC and UCLA. That seemed like, okay, get to that nice round number of 20, but that's going to put them into a world where they're kind of going to have to go to
this was a league that had a Big Ten that had 11 members in it for years. So I'm not sure a round number's even in their mind.
No, and I don't know how you would even schedule for a Big Ten title game if there were 20 teams. There would be so many, and they're already at 18. There's going to be a lot of this too already, but there's going to be so many instances of teams that don't play each other.
Oh, that's good.
And how are you going to settle tiebreakers in that sense?
Well, yeah, I mean, whether they go to the college football playoff rankings at the end, but would you want to be waiting until Monday for that? Right on down the line, there are ways they can get to it, but it's got to be agreed upon. And the more people you put in a room to agree on something, the tougher it is.
Yeah, and
I've never understood why the West wanted to get rid of the West. I understand it for the league, but I don't understand it for like Iowa or Wisconsin.
Northwestern won the West twice.
Exactly. Twice in 3 years.
Northwestern's not going back to the Big Ten title game anytime soon.
No, but they will be packing that 15,000 seats temporary stadium maybe this year.
It looks beautiful right on the water, but
there's no excuse for a Big Ten team having a 15,000 seat stadium, even if it's just for a couple of years.
And they've tried to sell it as like, it was David Braun's idea to like bring it in and make it.
I don't care whose idea. I know. I saw that his daydream with his wife, but that's a joke. And all the seats are in the end zone for the most part.
Yes. Up next, T. Higgins. T. Higgins was tired of the noise. This is a check-in with Bengals camp. And Joe Burrow was bored enough to dye his hair. So we had the T. Higgins sound yesterday why did he sign his franchise tag tender? Basically, his reason was, I was tired of seeing myself in the headlines, and I just wanted to get focused on football. Training camp was drawing near. I skipped all the offseason training. I just wanted to get there, and that's where the Bengals are right now. That this is one last year with T. Higgins, but I think they're okay with that idea because they know that they are in a real strong, can compete with Patrick Mahomes' Super Bowl window.
Yes.
And even if it's just a rental on a guy for a year, it's worth it if it makes your team that much better for this year. You'll figure out next year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, having T. Higgins on the field, throwing to that guy, I mean, if I'm Joe Burrow, I love that. I mean, we know his catch radius, et cetera. The guy can deliver big plays, and you just don't, I'm not knocking it because professions are professions, but boy, lawyers and agents, but mainly agents have just mucked up the works to a certain extent. I mean, there's so much conversation about 3 years from now and 2 years from now, and my guy's getting, the short end of the stick, and right on down the line, instead of getting ready to play a football game where you're getting paid handsomely. When you're a franchise guy, you're getting paid handsomely.
Sometimes it does seem like, because when you talk to the player, and maybe he's just saying the correct team first type stuff, but it also just seems like, when they say stuff like, my people will handle that, it sounds like, are your people doing all of this? Did you even ask for a new contract?
I remember I told Urban Meyer, I had him on my podcast the summer of his first and only year with the Jacksonville Jaguars. You've got guys who have other guys talking and working for them, and it came back to bite him big time. He thought it was, he's so much looking forward to that. But everybody's got an agenda, and it's too bad that people who don't even play the game get so worked up in it. I'm not taking shots at agents because everybody needs somebody looking out for them, but that doesn't need to become the story.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point to make. Also with the Bengals, Joe Burrow's new hair. Who do you think wore it better, you or Joe Burrow with the clean look? Now, I don't think you bleach blonde your hair.
No, my hair's been the platinum color it is for many decades now, even though I'm 70. And number two, I'm wearing a cap because I got one of the worst haircuts I ever got a couple of weeks ago, and I'm just trying to
You're just trying to grow it out, get back.
Yeah, because I wore a hair helmet for most of my, teenage and then adult life. A hair helmet, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
the old German army helmet, But yeah, I think Joe's a pretty cool dude, man. I've always liked that guy.
I like that his explanation was like, I don't know, I was kind of bored, so I just decided to cut my hair. Sounds like he's ready for football season to be here.
Yeah, Neil Shipley, he may be the next guy that does something like that.
Yeah, Joe got he was my coolest player at LSU. We did them this week and it's just like, because you go back to
he was the coolest player at Ohio State when he was there.
The picture of him with the cigar after the title game. Nothing cooler than that.
Yeah, exactly.
Last one real quick. We've got a new head coach here in Columbus for the Blue Jackets. Dean Evison takes over. It doesn't sound like it was the Jackets' first choice, but he's the guy that's here now. He seems to be a coach that has an idea for the structure that he wants around a team, but will also embrace the idea of the locker room figuring some stuff out. And he's going to, based on what he said and what I've read about him, he's going to kind of let the locker room, as far as the young guys and the older guys, figure out how they gel together, and whether that becomes it's more of the older guys leading, or as some fans want, I think on this show we've agreed to let the young guys play and kind of take over the team, because that's the future. We'll see what that balance looks like, but he seems open to the room figuring it out on their own.
Yeah, I mean, coaches are like chefs, really. They get ingredients, and then they're supposed to put them together, but the ingredients have to work, and you have to taste test, and you have to, you understand what I'm saying? I'm not going to go too deep into that analogy, but that's the only way it's really going to work. The day, if in fact there ever was a true day of this, where there's a dictator telling everybody what to do, when to do it, how to do it, you will play with this guy, you will like this guy. I mean, you kind of do that, but you do it in a polite way anymore, and that's every level of coaching anymore. Because, like I said, everybody's got an agent, everybody's got friends, family, et cetera, who tell them you're getting the wrong end of the stick. You've got to let a team come to a boil on its own, and then see what you got. And and by the way, not being number one, Jim Tressel wasn't the number one choice, basically. Andy Geiger kind of settled on Mike Bellotti, it looked like, at one point, and Mike Bellotti didn't want to leave Oregon. Mm-hmm. He also asked, I think, the question in the interview, does Ohio State play Michigan every year? So you probably didn't have the right guy in the first place. Meanwhile, where would Ohio State football have been if that had been the case? So whoever didn't take the job or didn't get the job, hey, that's water under the dam, as Earl Bruce used to say. You move on.
Yeah, you can't do the what-if game until years later anyways.
No.
Coming up, Kevin Stefanski. Well, he was asked if Deshaun Watson will appear in preseason games yesterday. Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
We used to have a billboard with our host's face on it, but only ugly people work here now.
You mama say you ugly, hey!
The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Find great prices on summer favorites this week at Meijer. Get fresh local blueberries for $1.49 and Meijer chips 3 for $5. Plus, the 7 for $7 sale is back. Mix or match hundreds of items and pay just $1 each when you pick any 7 or more. Eckert hot dogs, Meijer ketchup, and select Coca-Cola products, plus deposit were applicable. To round out your summer cookout, shop low Meijer prices and the 7 for $7 sale this week only. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in-store or in the Meijer app.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Okay, so that's the final price. Oh, an extra fee to drive here, is that it? A knock on the door fee, so is that the final price? A 15% Wednesday surcharge, what for? Oh, because it's Wednesday, of course. Can I get back to you on this?
Apex Pros, the pros who knows.
This quote you gave me, are there any other charges I don't know about?
Other charges?
Like an it's too sunny fee or my dog wet the carpet tax.
No, Apex always gives you upfront pricing.
No surprise fees?
Never.
No charge if your stomach hurts or you lost your library card?
Upfront pricing every time at Apex Pros, whether it's plumbing, heating, and AC, or our new electrical services.
I'll call you right back. Hello, other company? Hi, me again.
It's Alex, the friendly Apex Bear. You'll never get a surprise charge with the Apex Pros upfront price guarantee. Schedule an appointment now at apexpros.com.
Here at The Fan, we give you 14 hours of live and local programming every day. We care about you. We live and work in your community. Except Bo Bishop. He won't tell us where the hell he is. Your live and local station. Except Bo. The Fan.
Bo Bishop here. High Bank Distillery Co. is the most awarded distillery in America at the 2024 San Francisco World Spirits Competition. Stop by your local liquor store to grab a bottle, or their 2 restaurant locations in Gahanna and Grandview. Dine, drink, distill at High Bank.
Great coaching can make all the difference, especially when it comes to your money. At Right Pac Credit Union, our financial coaches are on your team. We'll help you create a winning game plan that's customized for your unique needs, so you can make the most of your hard-earned money and live the life you want to live. Best of all, Right Pac Credit Union serves all of Central Ohio, so getting in the game is easy. Let's win together. Stop by one of our Central Ohio member centers to get started today. Equal housing opportunity, insured by NCUA.
At Sunny Street Cafe, we scoff at the notion that restaurants should only have one tagline.
'Cause instead,
we got 7.
And here's our number 1.
Sunny Street Cafe, a bright spot for breakfast and lunch.
Now with 8 locations.
Have you lost Ohio Medicaid? At healthcare.gov, you can find a low-cost, quality health plan.
Do plans cover doctor visits?
What about emergency care?
And prescriptions?
All covered and more. Plus, with the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hey, Ohio! Don't miss the Ohio State Fair July 24th through August 4th.
With fair favorites like the butter cow sculpture, livestock animals,
Endless shopping,
delicious fair food,
free live music, thrilling rides and games,
competitions, and so much more.
Enjoy all that the Ohio State Fair has to offer now through Sunday, August 4th.
Tickets on sale at the gate or at ohiostatefair.com.
Need to hire quality candidates fast? You need Indeed. Our video interview tool makes it easy and effortless to meet with candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Looking at a dry day today, lots of sunshine, high 84. Tonight will be clear and dry, low 60. Sunny and hot on your Saturday with a high of 88. On Sunday, it'll be hazy, hot, and humid with a high of 91. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Connect with the show on X at 971BFS. Jump in our YouTube chat or just send a raven. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Browns camp starting down at the Greenbrier. First week of August, they'll be back up in Cleveland, but they've done this a couple of times in the Kevin Stefanski era. They like going down there, getting away from it all, and seeing what they really have with their team. But the reporters still follow them down there, and they do still have to speak. Kevin Stefanski, as I teased, was asked about Deshaun Watson playing in the preseason games because, I don't know, we haven't seen him since the middle of last season. He ended up sitting out. We got all the Flacco time. He hasn't played a ton of football in general over the last 3 years. So are they going to try to get some more reps under his belt? Well, here's what Stefanski had to say.
We'll see. I mean, that's certainly something that I will talk to our staff about, talk to Deshaun about that. We'll make that decision when appropriate. I've thought about it, but I don't have an answer right now.
In other words, no comment.
Yes, yeah, that was a long. He's the king of saying a lot of words that don't actually have any content within them. Bo, obviously, normally on this show, he's probably down at the Greenbrier because he's the Browns general manager. No, he's out in Boston. But he was saying along the lines of, it doesn't look like you're going to see Deshaun at all in. Now, Reese, you could correct me, but it was the second game, right, that he said you probably wouldn't see Deshaun, but he was also very upset about the idea that their third game is at Seattle with a 10 p.m. Eastern start time for their final preseason game.
I think it was the second. And I also think you're going to have coaches that are really going to throw stuff at the wall to see what sticks. Like, all 32 teams are going to treat their quarterback situations very differently. Now, this is the second year that they've done just 3 preseason games. for Watson, if he doesn't play, if he plays in the Seattle game or doesn't play in the Seattle game, there's still going to be 14 days off between that game against the Seahawks on August 24th and their opener against the Cowboys on September 8th. Yeah. So it depends on, I guess, from Stefanski's vantage point, how much time do I want to give my quarterback who's already kind of had some time off?
Yeah, and he's played football his entire life, number one. I'm talking about Deshaun Watson, right, except for the years when he's been hurt. He understands what a game situation, what game pressure is, what game setting is. I really don't. I really believe you don't put him out there and put him in jeopardy just to see if he's got his game back, because you've got 17 regular season games. And
he's already dealt with it.
And just when you're protecting a guy and taking, look what happened to Aaron Rodgers last year. I mean, hard knocks, everything you're watching, and all of a sudden, boom. What was his Achilles, and boom, he's out for the year, and you're just kind of going, because it can happen anytime when you're on a football field. So,
but isn't that you can make the opposite argument for why he should get a series in the preseason, because it could happen anytime.
But a series in the preseason, seriously, just you can mock that up in a preseason camp day one day, just to have everybody goes live for one series to see what happens with Deshaun Watson. I mean, what's the difference?
That is why the conventional wisdom right now is that you won't see him, especially in that second game, because that's with Minnesota and the Vikings are coming to town. They're doing the joint practices, and those are the ones that coaches really take the value from.
Absolutely.
Now.
I mean, boy, it would, in college football is. I know some coaches have thought about doing those kind of things in the past. It'd be cool, like West Virginia coming to Ohio State or meeting in Zanesville or Wheeling or something, and just so you get to practice against somebody other than your own team, because that's got to get monotonous and also extremely you know what's coming, by the third week of camp and stuff. But I don't think with a 17-game season now, if he needs to play into it, let him play into it in those first couple of games.
New offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey up in Cleveland now, but Kevin Stefanski says he's still calling the plays.
I'm going to call the plays this year, so I'm going to get that out of the way. Any decision I make for our football team, I take a lot of information in. I try to listen to a lot of people and make decisions. And ultimately, what I feel really, really confident in is our offensive staff. I feel really strongly about Coach Dorsey and the entire offensive staff. So we'll continue to be an operation that works together. It's never been a one-man show.
Okay, so it's still going to be Stefanski calling the plays, but obviously Ken Dorsey is going to bring some of his concepts in there. Amari Cooper was asked, what sticks out about the new Ken Dorsey offense that they're running?
The amount of plays that he wants to get ran. You saw it with the Buffalo Bills. There's an emphasis on scoring every single drive, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown. And I think his whole philosophy is the more plays you run, the more chances you get at scoring points. And I believe that to be true. I witnessed it when he was at the Bills. I saw a few games, maybe it was like one or maybe two, but I saw a few games where they scored every single drive. So his vision has definitely come true.
I just want to ask a question of you two, because I think you're much smarter than I am.
That is not true, but thank you.
If it's Ken Dorsey's offense, would you rather have Ken Dorsey calling the plays for Ken Dorsey's offense or Kevin Stefanski calling the plays for Ken Dorsey's offense?
Kevin Stefanski's not going to just show up on Sunday and get a play sheet and go, okay, this is at my disposal. He's going to
It's
be
not turning on Madden and just selecting it.
He's going to be part and parcel to the planning, I'm sure, in some form or fashion. So, I mean, he's the head coach. He has that prerogative. I mean, we can argue all night long about whether a head coach should just be being a head coach and instead of like trying to call the perfect play here. He will be getting input from several different people, including Ken Dorsey. Hey, what do you like here? You know how that goes. I mean, in between plays, while the play's going on almost, they're looking forward to the next play. So, but I'm right out. It's almost like the guy that designs it. It's like the Wright brothers. They both got to fly the plane, right?
Yeah. So I think it depends on what I was trying to see, like what his play calling duties were while he was the Buffalo offensive coordinator. So it depends on how much he's done it as well, because this is Kevin Stefanski's skill. He's a good play caller and he's really smart offensively. But as he melds with it, he's going the opposite direction of what's happening here in Columbus with Ohio State. To bring Chip Kelly in, hand over the play calling abilities to the new offensive coordinator, but it's still a combination of a Ryan Day and Chip Kelly offense. That's going to be the biggest thing is how do Dorsey and Stefanski offenses come together and put the Browns in a position
The better analogy is a racing engineer and a race driver. The racing engineer sets up the car ideally for the track they're on and takes into account what the race driver the driver likes, but then the driver drives the car, and that's more of the analogy we're looking for.
Yeah, they're the one doing it on the day.
And I hope, by the way, in the press box, they have Ken Dorsey a backup computer.
Just so he can go ahead and hop in and take care of that stuff.
I'm talking about
considering he's
the video.
Coaching for the Browns, he might want to have like 2 or 3.
Yes, 2 or 3 backup computers,
and they should enclose glass around him in case one decides to go airborne.
And they need some sort of They need some sort of button that just puts a lens cap on the camera instead of another assistant having to come over and put
I think he's still mad at. I think he's got to harbor something. Matt Wilhelm's in the same general town now, so that's got to haunt him a little bit too.
You've got that from the Browns, so we'll see what it looks like as Ken Dorsey and Kevin Stefanski meld their 2 offenses. They're camped down in the Greenbrier down in West Virginia right now. Dabo, what? He's afraid of change again? But is this one legitimate? We'll discuss next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
1, 2, 3. Here at The Fan is always football o'clock. Proud to be your home of the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. The Fan.
We go to war for you. Truth is, when you get injured, the deck is stacked against you. I'm attorney Robert Scherger, and we feast on the fight. If you don't have an attorney in your corner, you don't have a chance in hell. Protect your rights. WarForYou.com.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your crawl space and damaging your home. Musty smells, sagging floors, mold are just a few signs your crawl space is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Ohio Basement Authority. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at ohiobasementauthority.com.
Underneath our red awning at Sheets, we make the magic happen. So when you visit our new location in Columbus, go ahead and get a little crazy, like adding mott sticks as a burger topping, or putting espresso in your milkshake, or picking up $65 worth of fried food curbside at 2 a.m. 24/7, 365. Sheets, located at 4881 Roberts Road in Columbus, is ready to serve you what you're really craving. Why the Sheets not make a convenience store your new favorite hangout spot?
Driving this summer in a new Honda. Act now during Honda's summer event to save thousands with low 1.9% financing. Full inventory is here. Cars, SUVs, trucks, vans, and hybrids. With hybrids, the battery charges as you drive. Don't miss Honda's summer event with big savings on gas or hybrid, like the 2024 Honda Ridgeline, now with low 1.9% financing. Search your local Honda dealer.
See dealer for financing details. For well-qualified buyers. Offer ends 9/3/24.
FC Series presents Premier League giants Manchester City versus Chelsea. Don't miss the chance to see these great teams live at Ohio Stadium. Get your tickets now at fcseries.com.
The Buckeyes are starting fall camp and we're tagging along. The Fan is broadcasting live August 1st through the 4th at Ohio State football practice. Morning juice and Bishop and Friends Thursday and Friday, plus live weekend programming. Let's go.
Ready for all those warm weather get-togethers? Fill up your grocery basket at Giant Eagle. Giant Eagle's Deals for Days program features more than 1,000 deals on your favorite items, so you can save more on what you like most. Barbecue parties, graduations, communions, they're all easier to plan when you buy a Giant Eagle. These low prices are available for a limited time at your Giant Eagle and Market District, so save today. Find more information on Deals for Days at gianteagle.com.
Gonna feel a puff of air.
Jong's Optometry has set their sights on staffing up.
Try the next line. Hey, Kim, can you tell her 2 o'clock we're running 15 behind? Sorry, we're a bit backed up today.
He needs an optometric technician to keep an eye on it all.
Where are the dilation drops?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Meet Cheryl.
Hey.
She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. If you need a new roof but you're not sure you can afford it, no problem. Right now, Able Roof is offering no payments, no interest until 2026 for qualified buyers. Yep, that's the same Able Roof that's been voted the #1 roofing company in Columbus by Consumer Choice Awards 22 years in a row. Want more? Able Roof will give you up to $1,000 off a new roof, siding, or windows. This is a limited time offer, so call Able Roof today.
Call Able for the proof. 444-ROOF.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
First Friday miracles are always better with Uncle Bo. This is Bishop and Friends.
We've talked a lot about Big Ten Media Days this week. The ACC also had their Big Ten Media Days, and we've had a few things come out about it. We were talking a lot about Florida State and how they are still upset about how they lost the season. And they should be. They should be. But yeah. Dabo Swinney, who seems continually upset with everything going on in college football, well, he had his chance to talk about something else, and now he is not so sure that increasing the scholarship numbers, the roster sizes for college football teams is going to be the right move. So right now it sits at 85 scholarships. The conventional number that people seem to be passing around is increasing that by 20, going to 105, but there's no guarantee that that's where they're going to land.
There'll be a roster limit there, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dabo was talking about it. I'm pro the young men, talented young men that believe in our team, that believe in me, that believe in Clemson. He added, if you look at the guys that have left Clemson, the great majority of them, they just want to go play, and that's the majority of guys that are in the portal. They're guys that want to play. We've had 14 top 15 recruiting classes in a row, so we're very consistent. We sign the great players. This year, we think we've got one of the best classes in the country, and that'll probably prove out. It always shows up 4 years later when it really counts, but we love the kids on our team. And this comes on the heels of him also talking about he is afraid of the walk-on opportunities going away, that if you increase the roster sizes and the amount of scholarships you can give out, that there won't be as many spots for guys to be walk-ons, because right now it is an 85 scholarship limit. Most power teams get into the 120 range. Okay, so you're talking instead of 35 spots available to these guys, there's only going to be 15. I think that the logic is flawed because more scholarships and larger rosters officially just offers more opportunity. You're always pulling from the same pool. There's only a finite amount of players. It's not like increasing the rosters and the amount of scholarships is going to magically create more 4- and 5-star players. So if anything, this is just going to take guys who had to be walk-ons and just allow them to have a scholarship. That's, I think, the more realistic outcome. So I don't understand a world where giving out more scholarships gives less opportunity. I don't know how logically Dabo Swinney got to that.
Well, because if you're on the squad and you're like, the squad's like 120, 125 players, and you want to be there. But number one, the reason Dabo Swinney got there, number one, is because he was a walk-on at Alabama.
True.
So he lived that life, and was a great example of busting your butt and finally getting a shot, And so, yeah, it's not so much the limit or 105 opportunities for scholarships. It's like you are taking away opportunities for a guy to prove himself eventually. It's still not clear to me how they're going to get to 105. The way I've understood it, you might be able to have more than that in preseason camp, but by the time school starts, the way I understand it's going to be a school start date, you've got to be to 105. So what do you tell those guys, who are there maybe practicing with you or there with you maybe in the spring? It's not sure how that's going to work out either. Spring may be as much a big tryout as it is anything else anymore. But, there's all kinds of ways you can look at this. But when you get into revenue sharing, you can't have everything. Mm-hmm. The players, the guys who make it are going to get a bigger piece of the pie now, a juicier piece of the pie now. So there have to be limits no matter how you break it down.
The also interesting thing that I was reading this week along this is football has always been a head count sport. 85 scholarships, that's 85 players. But in the world of revenue sharing, it looks like it's going to be changed to an equivalency sport, which is what a lot of the non-revenues do. So there might be partial scholarships. We'll see how that divvies out with it. But yes, I understand that the amount of walk-ons on a Clemson roster, if it gets to this point, will be a smaller amount. But then he talks about, well, the guys who transfer, they're the guys who are looking for opportunity. So those guys will still transfer if they're not getting the opportunity on the expanded roster.
But I do believe 105 is considered the roster limit, not,
So they're not going to go to the 120
I don't think you can.
anymore.
Yeah, in football, I don't think you'll be up. This is all going to be figured out, but I don't think you'll be able to chop up and still have 130 guys out there, some of them on quarter scholarship or something.
What if they will implement?
You can do that in a lot of the other sports.
What if they'll implement any sort of scout team or practice squad type idea?
That's what Ryan Day was talking about the other day. Is like he didn't get into detail about it, but if things really go upside down for you from an injury standpoint, and things you're gonna have to have some kind of pool of players to draw from just to get through maybe practices if in fact a true catastrophe hits your team. So
and if you're going to make it a hard limit on the roster size?
I told you, this is the beginning of the beginning. They don't really 5 years from now, who knows what things are going to look like, and especially in that regard. I mean, we're talking about possibly a limit or roster limit of 35 for baseball, but that's pretty good.
Yes,
for baseball, and just round down the line. So we're sitting here talking about something, and it's still hazy as heck.
Every question kind of just creates like three more questions in my mind because as I'm talking about the idea of, okay, if you have practice squad, that could be a place where traditionally your walk-ons were, and so they're on that squad.
Well, back before freshmen could play in that realm, when freshmen could play, you had a junior varsity. A lot of teams had. We used to go see Alabama's junior varsity team play when I was a little kid. When they played like Livingston State College or something like that, we'd go watch those games, and that you don't have that in the Big Ten. In major college football right now.
Well, that would be fun to have some scout team games.
Well, you remember the great thing in 1967 when they became the Super Softs for Ohio State, Rex Kern and all those guys, Jim Stillwagon. They would routinely scrimmage. I think they even played some games, like 4 games as freshmen. A freshman team. They had a freshman team and would kick butt.
They would probably, and
that was cool to watch, I'm sure.
With the practice squad, if that idea came forward, it would have to be something where they'd have to figure out what you do with the players that they're replacing. Because now we're talking about, okay, it's capped at 105. Well, I have 105 scholarship players, but this guy's hurt. Is it an IR situation where that guy has to sit out 4 weeks, or is it a submit your active roster every week? Well, again, these are just the things they have to figure out.
And Ohio State has a very good club football team.
That's true, too.
The Ohio State club football team, which I think a couple of guys made the roster for Ohio State. I'm trying to remember their names, but James Gray. I had on my podcast a couple of months ago. It was very interesting how they go about fundraising, but they put a credible team on the field.
Yeah, and there were a few that even did the pro day this year with the Ohio State guys. So that's another place that you could think, okay, that's where you draw players, because it's going to come up this year with the season getting so long. There's going to be somebody who has a player that gets hurt that they're like, we really need to replace this guy on our roster. We don't have enough depth.
December.
Yes, and unlike in the NFL where you can always go find somebody who's a free agent and add them to your roster at any given, it can happen in the playoffs, it can happen after the trade deadline.
I keep bringing that up.
Where is that option for the college football teams? Yeah. And I think that's something that they have to figure out.
Practiced with Alabama a little bit during their bowl practices last year. He was a freshman. He hadn't even started classes at Alabama. So what's the difference in that? And, Oregon and Dylan Gabriel agreed to terms, if that's the right way of putting it, in mid-December. How come he couldn't then play for them on their roster in the playoff?
What are the rules? Well, nobody really knows the rules.
We're going to get clarification over the next couple of years, I guarantee it.
So with this from Dabo Swinney, I understand why he has such an affinity for the walk-ons, with him being a walk-on and what they've gotten out of walk-ons while he's been at Clemson. Hunter Renfrow obviously comes to mind with that. He catches a game-winning touchdown in the national championship, became an NFL player, and that's because he had the walk-on opportunity. But how many walk-on guys, that's what we really need. What is the breakup of how many walk-on guys decided to walk on because they had lower level college football offers and instead said, no, I want to follow my dreams. I want to be a Clemson Tiger. I'm going to go there. And I just think that those opportunities are just going to be there for maybe you give out some of those scholarships. If anything, this is what it will definitely do. If you increase roster sizes, more 3-stars will be on the elite rosters.
Yeah.
Because there's not that many 4 and 5 stars.
No, there's not. I mean, but great example, Stetson Bennett. Georgia tried to run him off twice.
He just wouldn't
Baker
leave.
Mayfield was a walk-on at Oklahoma when he transferred from Texas Tech. I mean, he was just messing around, and somebody saw him throwing whatever, and he went out for Oklahoma, and of course he won the Heisman Trophy. So there are gems out there that these great scouting departments totally miss, who can help you down the road if you are allowed to bring them on and keep them on.
But if instead of being a walk-on and you just go and play 2 years of quarterback at Akron and it's like, wow, that's a guy with that kind of skill, don't they just get a transfer? The numbers don't work out for me from what Dabo's saying.
Have the opportunity.
That there's less opportunity for these players. It sounds like you are just getting less free players on your roster.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like. Every time Dabo complains about where college football is going, it's just because it's getting harder for him and he doesn't want to do the new things. And I think that's why Clemson has fallen off.
I don't think it's that simple, but there is something to be said for the romance of the past, but was it really that romantic? Clemson killed it in recruiting. That's how they won a couple of national championships.
Yes.
They did it the old-fashioned way, and
which isn't even the old-fashioned way. Recruiting was a stopgap to get people to stop buying players.
Now there's a new way to do it, and some teams are embracing it, and it looks like Clemson still isn't.
No, and we'll see what that looks like for them going forward into the 12-team playoff. That's something that they are definitely still in the neighborhood of, which they kind of dropped out of the 4-team playoff neighborhood over the last
But there's romance also, too, like as Chris Carter said on my show a couple of weeks ago, of a guy like these wide receivers show up at Ohio State who know they're not going to necessarily play immediately, but they're talented. But the patience factor usually pays off for a big-time player. So, it's in any sense things are a little bit too mobile right now, but that will settle down.
3 things on a Friday coming up next. Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
Big voice guy here to remind you that you're listening to The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Okay, thanks. I have 3 more seconds. Bye-bye.
Cash, moolah, greenback toast, Grilla, chips, bread and mold, cheddar, butter, lewd and scratch. Find the lettuce, make a match. Lettuce, gravy, game on the back for $30. That's a wrap. There's many words for cash, no doubt, but there's only one $30 cash word. Check it out. Cash word from Ohio Lottery. It's $30, yo. Cash word, it's fun to go with millions of prizes, don't you know? Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
It's shaping up to be one of the hottest summers on record, Columbus, which means your AC unit is being put to the test. With thousands of perfect Google reviews, your cooling experts at Sears Heating and Cooling will ensure your comfort just as we have the last 74 summers. Whether your AC unit is in need of maintenance, repair, or replacement, your Sears cooling team will get the job done right the first time at the best possible price. That's right. From Johnstown to Hilliard, enjoy the local pricing advantage of doing business with your neighbors at Sears. SearsHeatingCooling.com.
Direct auto insurance is for uncompromisers, like Matt. When his old car insurance got so expensive, do you think he walked until his sneakers wore out? No, because he found savings with Direct Auto so he could drive instead of compromise. With savings of up to 25% on state minimum coverage, you too can stop compromising and keep driving. Get a free quote at directauto.com or a store near you. Savings vary, terms apply. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
Okay, true stories from Huntington with Veronica and her banker, Roger.
Veronica, you were nervous about trying to get a home. Why is that?
Nobody likes to hear the word no. One day I just said, okay, I'm going to go talk to the banker.
How'd it go, Roger?
If there was a bump in the road, we hit it. But we navigated right through it. Veronica kept pushing.
Get more than money from your bank. Welcome to Huntington. Real people compensated for true stories. Loan subject to credit application and approval. Equal housing lender.
Do you feel that? The season is getting closer. Buckeye football comes your way in 36 days. Every game, every season. Proud to be your flagship home for Ohio State football. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
By
Find great prices on summer favorites this week at Meijer. Get fresh local blueberries for $1.49 and Meijer chips 3 for $5. Plus, the 7 for $7 sale is back. Mix or match hundreds of items and pay just $1 each when you pick any 7 or more. Eckert hot dogs, Meijer ketchup, and select Coca-Cola products, plus deposit where applicable. To round out your summer cookout, shop low Meijer prices and the 7 for $7 sale this week only. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in-store or in the Meijer app.
Boss on your back? Break away from the office and head on over to Delaware Golf Club. Grab a group, play 18, and afterwards, unwind with a drink by the Fire Pit Bar and Patio. Online booking makes it easy to secure your tee time. So come check out Central Ohio's home for premier golf at Delaware Golf Club.
The summer sell-down is on at Performance Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Save thousands with bonus cash on select inventory. Plus, get another $2,500 off any new Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram with your trade. One Performance, 2 locations, Georgesville and Delaware.
Trade value based on KBB, comparable, 2010 model or newer, and price of $5K.
Hey, it's Anthony for the Good Feet store. 3 words for me, pain-free summer. Spent probably 30 hours walking around the Memorial Tournament and felt awesome with my personal arch supports from the Good Feet store in my everyday kicks. Sure, every now and then we all get random foot pain from pickleball or golf or just being a human being. Having my personally fit arch supports in my shoes has made a massive difference. And even right after I put them in, didn't take long to feel much more supported and aligned, and it's so easy to just move them into any pair. Before I had them, I dreaded being on my feet for any length of time. Well, you have nothing to lose but the pain, as they say. It's a free fitting and test walk. Try them for yourself. See the difference it can make. It did for me. And best of all, you can wear them home. 2 locations on Polaris Parkway and Stringtown Road, or schedule an appointment at goodfeet.com. The Good Feet store, America's arch supports experts.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Ohio Heating and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
After putting up with Dom Tiberi for a decade, the broadcast gods gave Bo these 2. This is Bishop and Friends.
Finishing out the week here with Tim May, but he and I and Reeser will be here Monday and Tuesday. Reeser, it's you, Baker, and somebody else on Wednesday, right?
The namesake of this show, Bo Bishop.
Oh, Bo's back on Wednesday? Okay, so we're all set there, and I'll be off Wednesday because I'm going to the Def Leppard concert Tuesday night up in Cleveland. Very excited about
it. Bo gets more PTO than a government worker, doesn't he?
Everybody's off in July. That's what it feels like. Before we get to 3 things, though, what's on the fan poll?
Daily Fan Poll asks, will you watch the opening ceremonies of the Paris Olympics? Every minute of it, some of it, not a chance. It starts at 1:30. I think they're going to do a replay later tonight on NBC. I think you can watch it on Peacock at any time. But the asks in the Daily Fan Poll were every minute, some of it, not a chance. 52% say some of it. 42% say not a chance. 5% of you say every minute of it.
I think I'll turn it on so it'll be on for every minute on my television in my house today, but I don't think I'm going to actively watch every. There'll be some that'll stand out, and then, of course, you'll watch the American procession. But, yeah, but I'm interested to see it. And being on the river, like, what do their, like, performances look
right.
like?
I mean, or is everybody going to be standing up in the boat marching in place like they're really marching? Or, like I said, is LeBron going to be holding the flag with one hand or two? But I won't watch the entire thing. So
time for 3 things.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Custom Air. Custom Air. Custom Solutions. Custom Comfort.
First thing for me, I've never fully disliked the taste of coffee, and like coffee flavored sweets are something that I'm into, but I just was never a coffee drinker for whatever reason. Didn't want caffeine in the morning. And what happened is I've just been at enough houses of family and stuff, and they're coffee drinkers. Like, hey, do you want a cup of coffee? And I was like, yeah, I like coffee. I'll have it. And I kind of was like, yeah, it does work. I'll admit that. And so this week, I've had a cup of coffee 3 of the 4 mornings I've been working, which is way above average. And I think I'm slowly becoming a coffee guy. I guess I'm in my 30s. I'm a coffee drinker.
Am I next?
Yes.
That's good to hear, though. My wife once worked for the coffee development group way back in the 80s, and they espoused drinking more and better coffee. So that is what it is. My first thing is with Bo being down there at the Greenbrier, is he taking a tour of the Greenbrier Hotel? Is it haunted? And is it like The Shining? But with the Browns being there, instead of hearing red rum, are they hearing red right 88, red right 88?
First one for me, Snoop Dogg's holding the Olympic torch right now. He posted a picture of himself on the social media platform X, and this is a good job at everybody on the internet. The first couple of replies, and there were several that photoshopped a giant joint in his hand in place of the Olympic torch.
Yeah, that one kind of writes itself. But I'm glad somebody on the internet did it because somebody had to do it.
That's one of the unbelievable developments of the 21st century, Snoop Dogg.
Yes, he's like friends with Martha Stewart. He does everything. He had a movie about Pee Wee football that came out on Amazon that for some reason was rated R.
Yeah.
It's very strange, but he's everywhere. Speaking of movies, tonight I'm going to go see Twisters, and I'm excited for it. I like the original one. We watched it a month or two ago because, hey, let's prepare for it. But I'm pretty sure Glenn Powell, the star of this one, you could have seen him as one of the supporting roles in Top Gun Maverick. He's kind of taken over movie stardom over the last year. If this one continues to hit like it has over its first 2 weeks or so out in theaters, he's going to be one of the biggest movie stars in the world. But I think he's going to fly just below that. My prediction is that he's going to be in a space similar to where Ryan Gosling is, that he does have some big tentpole action movies, but a lot of it will also be, well, I'll do the big action movie, and then I'll go do an understated indie drama, or I'll do a dark comedy. He had that Hitman movie that I like that came out on Netflix. That's where I think he's going to be, but the star power of Glenn Powell is on the rise, and he's going to be at the top of the A-list soon.
You know, he was the ultimate hero in Maverick Top Gun.
Yes.
Or Top Gun Maverick, whatever it was. And then number two, my wife really likes him. I mean, because he's a handsome dude and stuff, but in Twisters, he's excellent. He's excellent. I've seen it, and I won't give away the plot.
Okay. Is there a tornado?
but let me put it this way. You've seen it before to a certain extent. You know, my cool thing was, or number two thing was, yeah, there's Lincoln Riley sitting right there, and he's in the Big Ten now. There's Dan Lanning sitting right there, and he's in the Big Ten now. It's crazy. And, of course, Washington sitting there with Jed Fish, who has Scotty Graham, former Buckeye, on his staff, came with him from Arizona and stuff, and a great job they did at Arizona. It is upon us now, man. The mega conferences have definitely taken hold, and it's still hard a little bit to wrap your head around, but I think it's going to be cool.
Rothman and Ice are up next from 12 to 3. Dave Biddle is going to be sitting in place of Matty Ice. Jensen Lewis is going to join the boys for Chin Music at 2:33. The Mariners got better today. What are the Cleveland Guardians doing?
How are the Guardians doing right now?
They're fine. They're 4.5 up on the Twins, but again, that trade deadline's coming Tuesday night at 6, and they need to get an arm.
Their offense has fallen off, hasn't it, too? I mean,
that would help, too, but...
Yeah. When a 3-run homer beats you...
Last one for me, you mentioned Dan Lanning in your second one. We talked about.
I didn't know that was one of his three things.
We talked about him a lot during the show as well, but we talked about how he was saying like, "Hey, yeah, let's bring the big duck everywhere," and that would be really cool. And I get it; it's easy because a duck actually is on water. But what's stopping other schools? Let's get a giant Buckeye, inflate it, bring it wherever we're going, throw it on the river or the lake or the pond or whatever it is. Every Big Ten school should have some sort of inflatable to advertise that they're in town.
Helium field, and let Brutus Buckeye hang out outside Autzen Stadium there.
Maybe not helium. There's a pretty famous example that we shouldn't use that one for large crafts.
Well, no, helium doesn't explode. That's you're thinking about hydrogen.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Helium's
Hindenburg was hydrogen.
I was thinking of hydrogen. You're right.
Helium is the inert gas. It isn't quite as floatable as hydrogen, but it does the job, as you well know.
And it also doesn't explode.
Yeah, and let the Goodyear blimp and Brutus Buckeye go at it. You know. Mine is the thing I covered the Olympics in 1984, had a great time, but even watching now, I wish they could get to the finals of every event faster. One thing I had in mind was like maybe having a 50-lane, unprecedented 50-lane, 100-yard dash.
Yeah.
You get one shot at it. It would have been cool seeing Usain Bolt just kind of pull away, like a motorboat, the way he'd leave that wake.
With the whole field.
With 49 other guys chasing him. I think that I would tune in to watch that.
But then you would train for the Olympics, and your whole thing would come down to one 10-second race.
Well, it kind of does when you think about the prelims, unless you're the fastest couple of men in town. But I would pay to watch that. I definitely would.
Final thing for me, we had Charles Barkley's statement earlier in the show talking about how this will be the last year for the NBA on TNT. He told Dan Patrick this morning that he's already spoken with Amazon, ESPN, and NBC.
Yeah, he's not retiring.
So who knows? If they throw the money out there, he'll be there. I like Charles Barkley.
By the end of the show, yeah. We could come to the conclusion. It doesn't sound like Charles Barkley is retiring.
That should have been the poll.
We're not retiring either, but we are retiring for the week. All three of us will be back on Monday. Rothman and Ice with Biddle is up next. Anthony Rothman sitting in as he always is. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
During this 10-second promo, Rothman will lose money gambling on something.
People like you come here and blow the family nest egg that built this town.
Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan. This is a Fan Action Update.
The Olympics are celebrating the opening ceremonies today from Paris. United States over-under gold medal number for the Olympic Games is set at 41.5. Scotty Scheffler is the favorite to win gold in golf at plus 310, with Xander Schauffele 6-1 and Rory McIlroy 7-1. In men's tennis, Carlos Alcaraz is the singles favorite at minus 115. Novak Djokovic is plus 240. For your action update, I'm Scotty Vegas.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here from my friends at High Bank Distillery Co., located right here in Columbus. Introducing their newest product, 614 Vodka, Ohio's house vodka. Perfect to make a drink at home or try when you're out at your favorite local restaurant. Learn more at 614vodka.com.
You're going to feel a puff of air.
Jong's Optometry has set their sights on staffing up.
Try the next line. Hey, Kim, can you tell our 2 o'clock we're running 15 behind? Sorry, we're a bit backed up today.
He needs an optometric technician to keep an eye on it all.
Where are the dilation drops?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Meet Cheryl.
Hey.
She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's got to be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
As a local family-owned and operated company, Newman Roofing takes great pride in providing great customer experience and quality product to every job they do. From the first phone call to the end of your project, they'll know who you are. Don't just get a roof, get a Newman roof. Call 614-NEW-ROOF, newmanroofing.com.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential. But finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This is Paul Keels for Nature Stone Flooring, a unique blend of natural stone and their specially formulated epoxy expertly installed over existing concrete. Nature Stone is the only flooring solution for garages, basements, and indoor spaces. Family owned and operated since 1989, no other company or product can match the features, benefits, and unconditional warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor. Visit naturestone.com today and schedule your cost estimate. Act now and save up to 50% off any Nature Stone floor. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.